Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Derek, and I'm once again joined by my beautiful co-host, Mr. Codations. Mr. Codations, how are you doing, my friend?
Doing fantastic, Mr.
It has
D.
been a while since we've recorded a podcast, my dude.
It has been. It has been quite some time, my friend.
And not only has it been a while since we recorded a podcast, but schedules have been so crazy. I feel like we don't even get to chit chat that much anymore because the main time that I am now free is like later in the nights. Like my schedule is kind of switched from how it used to be. I used to get up at like, 7, 8-ish, around there. I mean, sometimes later, but like 8 o'clock, we'll say in the morning, and we chit chat throughout the day, while you were at work, because that's a lot of your free time. Because then when you get home, you're recording videos, spending time with the family. Whereas mine is kind of switched because of the DoorDash I've been doing and other stuff. I'm now like getting out on the DoorDash for lunch hour and going through to dinner. Then I come home with the family, and then all my free times in the evening. So I've been staying up later than normal. Normally, I'd be going to bed, by the time you're finishing streaming, so we can't talk or hang out then. Whereas lately I've been staying up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning myself, and doing a lot of my work later in the evening.
I was gonna say, is that normally your work time now, like for videos and stuff and content, or are you more free time evening, meaning like, or what?
I have no free time right now. Okay. I mean, because any free time that I pretty much have is going into the DoorDash pretty much, or making videos, reviews, tutorials. Making content. And then outside of that, I guess my free time is the time, when I just hang out with my son or my wife or,
right. Making content, speaking of the whole making content thing and stuff, how's that working or going with the late at night stuff? Are you actually just doing editing and stuff late at night? Or are you actually trying to record videos late at night too?
Both.
Well, I just know energy wise, I'm just curious on how that look, or I mean, how does that go with you feeling?
So what I've been doing is recording when I get home immediately from DoorDash, and like I'll take like one day a week. I've been batching everything. So I'll take like one day a week where I'll come home right after the lunch rush. And then I'll have like 2-3 hours before anybody's getting home from school or work, my kids or wife, and I'll record then. So I'll have everything already planned out. So a lot of and because of that reason, energy level, wanting to be fresh on camera, all that stuff, wanting the house to be quiet, even though at night everyone's sleeping, but still, my son wakes up crying sometimes, or whatever. I don't want to wake the family. So recording then, and then in the evenings, it's more like writing notes for, like planning out videos, writing notes for the videos, researching for videos, because I do a lot of tutorials, reviews. So I might be comparing products to other products, things like that. Or a lot of like setting up posts for like, posting clips and stuff, or YouTube videos, uploading them and doing all because I schedule everything so I can upload it all in batches and then schedule it out. So even though I'm doing it all at the middle of the night, I can have it, then post throughout the day. And so I do all that, like a lot of that kind of stuff at the actual late hours when I get done streaming or whatever. But it's overall, I honestly, it's not bad. I would say I'm more of a night out anyways, and I enjoy being up late anyways. I kind of like that quietness that comes, a lot of people like say, oh, if you get up super early in the morning, like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, it's super peaceful. I can get a ton of work done. Cool. I can't get up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning consistently, but I get that same effect late at night. Once everyone goes to bed, it's peaceful, it's quiet. I mean, as I'm getting older, I get more tired, but I don't really get tired in the fact that like I have trouble sleeping anyways. Like it already takes, like I already have so much energy or whatever, that not so much energy. I mean, I'm not fucking bouncing off the walls like you, but when I was your age, I was. But I still have that. It's just a little mild because of my age, I think. But it's still like I can easily. I mean, it don't bother me at all to step till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
I was gonna say it doesn't bother you if you need to stay up. I mean, then you're able to stay up. It's not that you're unable to stay up.
Yeah. So I'd say it's working out. And I actually, like I said, I prefer it. The only reason, was family. The reason I kind of switched. But now that the wife and I have been married longer, she doesn't care as much if I, miss coming to bed. So it's been good. I mean, like I said, I enjoy it. So I like the peaceful and quietness at night. So what about yourself? How has things on the content end been for you, my friend, or on your life in general too?
Good, man. Good. I mean, everything's been going good. I mean, it's just, more and more, less and less time. The more and more I get into content creation, the longer I'm making, content as a content creator, right? The more content I want to make. right? So then inevitably the less time I have for anything else. So that's kind of the mode that I've been in. I mean, that's kind of where I've been stacking everything. I mean, I decided over a month ago to start a Twitch channel, right? And so I started putting in Tuesdays and Thursdays, in the occasional weekend, day that I'm going to be normally playing games, kind of like just relaxing and doing whatever I want to do outside of, the work and grind, right? In the family, and started, well, why am I playing it? Why would I do that and just not turn the camera on? Be on Twitch, and just, have a buddy or two with me or whatever, their voice comes through the live chat, and just hanging out, and doing that. And it's been working. I would play, anything and everything I wanted to play, Elden Ring, Fortnite no build, that's going on right now, Tiny Tina's, basically games that I would be playing on my own outside of my main content on my YouTube channel, And I just figured, might as well do something with it. In doing so, it's been great. And the flip side, though, is then it kind of turns into, okay, so now my Tuesdays and Thursdays, right, like have just become like this. Now I'm streaming again. Now, now I'm going back into doing another stream, which has been fine. But so I've got that, to work on, when in the past I had Tuesdays and Thursdays open, where, that would be like a 2 video record night, or 3 video record night, and edit some of that stuff, get it ready to go for the next day, because that is my cookie run streams on my main YouTube channel is Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So, right. A lot of times, my schedule, I get home and I'm not available. I'm leaving the wife and kid trying to at like 7 p.m. going live at 8 p.m. on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. A lot of times that's super crunchy. To record a, under 15-minute video, edit it, design a thumbnail, post it before 8, in an hour.
Well, I was just going to ask you, because I think I know the answer to this, but kind of for our audience, because it has been a while since we've talked, but you're saying, Tuesdays and Thursdays where you record, edit. So when are you recording and editing now, or what's going on with that? I mean, if you're not doing that Tuesdays and Thursdays now.
Yeah. So essentially what I've been doing is just, there is no exception. I'm just leaving the family every night at 7 p.m. So every single night, Monday through Friday, I'm essentially just good with the fam until, 7, or, working throughout the day. Come home and then I'm good until about 7 o'clock. I'm jumping in here, popping off a video and recording videos. Where I'm saving a lot of time is at my day job, where I should be working. I am spending a lot of free time minimalistically scripting notes and video ideas, to where when I do sit down to record, the only thing sitting and weighing on me is me messing up during recording. And that's kind of what I've been doing. I've kind of been building this bank. By bank, I mean not like actual videos, but building this bank of like ideas, right? I've got like a separate Discord channel that's private just for me. I'm typing out video ideas, and I've just got, okay, this update just launched, 2 weeks ago, right? And then I just start, I start pivoting, this video, and kind of like planning them out. And then at that point, then I'm just breaking them down. I'm just writing, okay, in this video, I want to cover X, Y, Z, whatever, boom. Underneath X, I got to make sure I mention these two. That way, when I sit down, I'm still freeballing it. I don't write my script out for myself, but I find having that, it at least cuts my recording down by a lot. Then I could just kind of, punch right into exactly what I need to say, with the exception of, mess ups. If, sometimes just like kind of like writer's block, with writers who write books, you sometimes sit down and, you start to record, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I hate that. It doesn't sound good. Or, oh, I'm not, as enthusiastic, or, oh, I need to put some more character into this. Or maybe I don't know, repeat the same thing 5 times, you never know, what I mean? So,
I do that all the time.
So that's kind of what I've been doing, is kind of just, for a lack of better words, mid-maxing my time. That's kind of what I've been doing. And then on top of that, I was going to say, and on top of that, I know what you're going to go into. And on top of that, the next thing is I've also hired an editor.
Oh, you did? Wow.
Yeah. That's a genuine response. So I've hired on an editor from the Philippines. Very, very cool guy. Everything's been working out great with that. Obviously, there's the complications, between, the time difference, right? So, trying to get videos recorded, but yet videos that aren't, time priority or time sensitive, that need to be posted now. So then that way I can give them to him, so then he can edit them, so then I can have them as early as, tomorrow or the following day, to post those videos. So it would have to be stuff that wouldn't necessarily need to be posted today. But other than that, he's been doing a really good job at that. And not only that, it's really helped out giving me some additional videos, like filler videos, for me to send or upload my entire 3-hour live streams every single Friday, or Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. I'm uploading those. And then whenever he doesn't have a video that I want him to work on right now, he's then just making, no longer than a 15-minute, video or reel basically from, a compilation of the live stream to make something a little bit more watchable, adding in memes, adding in funny stuff, things like that. And I've seen really positive response with, posting those, over again. And that kind of also, again, adds more to the algorithm. I'm putting more content out there, feeding more into it, which again is helping out. And I've been posting those on my off time where normally I don't post a video, recommend, or YouTube doesn't recommend me to post a video until, 7, 8 o'clock at night, every night, Monday through Sunday. So these I've been posting, that video normally, but then I've also been posting these extra filler videos sometimes, 12 o'clock in the afternoon, or whatever, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Or
do you post like every day?
In the morning, every day.
I'm saying outside of the filler videos, have you been posting every single day?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize even on the weekends, like Saturday, Sunday. Yep. I didn't realize you posted 7 days a week.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, most of the time. There's some times where like one day a week that, I just either don't feel like it, you know what I mean? Or like, I don't really have something put, well enough put together, you know what I mean? And I know that when I sit in here to go to record, it's going to be an hour, 2-hour thing, where I'm going to have to like scrounge my notes together, try to record, do some stuff. And so some of those times I just don't, or if, the wife, how weekends work sometimes with wife and kids, sometimes, we get into doing something or we go to a friend's house, we do something, takes longer than we expected. We don't get home until after 9:30, and then by then I'm just like, nah, I'm not going to try to stay up and push it till 2 to drop a video, either drop a video super late, and I'm not going to post, just junk, so, I really just, but no, I try to,
or sometimes the wife just says, hey, I need a night.
100%. Yep. Yeah. That's okay. No joke too. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's no joke too. I mean, anybody that's married and, trying to be a content creator, dude, it's fucking challenge in its own.
Yeah. Especially when you have a full-time job as well, or working of any other kind of, I mean, it is, it is a challenge. So, diving into the, I'm going to go into the editor space because
whatever you want, man. Yeah. Shoot.
I like trying to provide value to all you guys listening and try to help you guys. And I know, I've been working with an editor for a while myself. Cody asked me about it, so we got him an editor. We went through and reviewed a bunch of videos and stuff. So just some general questions about hiring an editor. Number one, I know at first you were a little nervous about hiring an editor. I think especially if I remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I'm remembering wrong, but I do remember you being a little hesitant at first about doing it. I don't know if it was just because of losing the control or if it had to do with them being out of the country. Do you remember what kind of the initial hesitation was, or what you were kind of nervous of it?
Oh yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, like I still had a little bit of that. And honestly, it was neither of those two options. It wasn't the control, and it wasn't the location of the editor or the time zone or anything. To be honest with you, the biggest thing was the revenue aspect. Honestly, you know my situation. I've actually never ran a business outside of YouTube. You know what I mean? For anybody that's currently listening, I mean, technically, yes, your YouTube channel, once you start making revenue, you get sent like, what is it, a 1099 form? I mean, and yes, so that technically counts as a business. You're contracting a business basically. Outside of that though, I've never ran a business. And so because of that, I've never had that understanding that the hiring an employee, right? Or like, paying for a service or, any sort of like, I want to say investment back into the business still technically, but it's a business expense type of thing. And that's kind of what the whole mindset of hiring an editor is, right? Like you have to kind of look at it. You're not looking at it as like you're losing that money or, the revenue is going away. Like you have to look at it in the sense of like, hiring an employee, right? You basically are hiring an employee, which is in essence supposed to help you, with your business and then in turn increase your profits. I mean, all that stuff. That's the mindset, right? And so because of that, I want to say that was probably the biggest thing that I struggled with making this decision to hire an editor. The control wasn't really that big of a deal. I really didn't mind that. It was more or less like, I think finding somebody that I like their editing style. And two, the biggest one for me was understanding that the X amount of dollars that I make per month on my YouTube channel is now going to be decreased because, I'm paying this money to somebody else for them to work on these videos for myself. And going into the first point a little bit, just so I can kind of shine some light on the whole editing aspect and finding somebody I like, a lot of it for me was, finding the person that I like, but also like, working with them in a sense of like trying to get them to understand like, hey, I don't really care, you know, I mean, like for this, or hey, I kind of want you to do this, or you know what I mean? Like, I guess there is that sense of control there. You mean, you know, but it's not so much on, you know, just it's my video, mine. You know, I mean, you know, I want to do it, you know, myself, letting that control go. It was more just a less the idea of somebody else doing it. Is it genuinely me? You know what I mean? Like, you know, genuinely me coming through that video editor. And I kind of got over that really fast.
You mean like your personality, like
right, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And that's because, you know, as us, you know, starting off, you know, we're doing everything ourselves, right? So it's our personality on camera. We're doing the recording, we're doing the editing, our personal editing, you know, we're doing all this stuff that it looks good to us. And then you hand it off to a video editor and it's like, okay, so I recorded the video. Here's the video footage. You know, can you just, you know, spoof this up and make it look good? I quickly learned that it's still me. You know, I mean, I'm the one making the videos, you know what I mean? So you know, whatever edits they do, it's still me. It's just a matter of being like, I don't really want to be meme heavy. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to do this, or I'll make it more clean, you know, make it more, you know, that kind of stuff. Or, hey, you've used, what was that one editor that was in that trial and error video? I mean, he used like the whip, he used the whip sound 500 times, like everything popping up on the screen. He was like, whip, whip, whip. Here's some text. Whoop, here's going away. I'm like, holy cow, dude, can you just not use the whip button? I'm good on that. Like, but you know, I mean, I honestly, I think that was probably,
you are banned from the whip button.
Right. Basically, you know, I mean, like, and that's kind of like I said, and I want to say that's probably been my biggest hang up for an editor, you know, was the money avenue. And like I said, and yeah, I mean, I still worry about it sometimes, you know what I mean? Like you mentioned at the beginning of me and you talking, I mean, like the whole revenue stream and stuff, the YouTube's worst months are, you know, the first of the year, every year for every content creator. Right. So, you know, that revenue, you know, was at all-time low. And I just picture like, oh gosh, you know, I still got to pay this editor, you know, I mean, I still gotta take this money off and pay this editor, which is fine. It's not like the money's not there and I can. The beauty of it is, I guess, that always makes me feel better is like, well, then I just have them edit less videos. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, then I just won't send them videos. You know what I mean? You know, and then, you know, in my mindset, because then I think if I ever needed to justify it, it's like, you know, I mean, well, then I'll just, you know, not send them videos and then they're not editing and then I'm not getting charged for hours and I'm not paying them any money until I'm ready for that. The flip side of that is it's another person with another wife, with another kids, I mean, you know, who have also stuff that they have to do and they're relying on the revenue just as much as I am. So, you know, I mean, there's that, you know, it's all a process, you know, but it's cool. 100%. I mean, it's like I said, it's working out. I mean, this is my second editor. I mean, you know, that
I was just gonna, I was gonna ask you how many editors, because I knew you had switched, but I didn't know how many you had actually gone through. Get to the editor you have. So this is the second one that you've actually hired.
Correct. So, remember, I had the first two on retainer. Remember, I had them for like a month.
So you were using both of them.
Two. Yeah, I was using.
So this is your third editor then, technically.
Technically, yeah, I guess, but I never had any agreement or contract with the first two. I just basically said we're gonna do a month trial. I was like, I want to do a month trial. You know what I mean? And I'm
let's take a back step and let's discuss how did we find you an editor. Well, let's lay down a little bit of ground. I think this could be an interesting topic for people because it was an interesting topic for you. So
100%.
You heard Cody say that, you know, he hired a editor from the Philippines. So if you're a small content creator, if you're a growing content creator, you're on the smaller side, you're starting to make revenue, you start to wonder, hey, just as Cody wondered, what can I invest this money in that I'm starting to make that's actually going to help my business? And not just throw it into more gear that I really don't need, or more of this that I really don't need.
Or solving the problem of you're already capped for time, but you want to increase your quantity. You want to increase more output, videos. Your output. Yeah, there you go. And increase your business output, your channel's output, but you're lacking time. So how do you make that up?
And for a lot of small creators, the first thing that really seems to free up a lot of time is editing, hiring an editor, because editing takes so much time. I know for myself, recording a video, I can record the whole thing in an hour. If I'm doing a review, I mean, obviously I have a little bit of writing time and stuff, but if I'm recording a review, I can record it in an hour, all the B-roll, everything, assuming I don't mess up 100 times. But like a normal time, recording, it's not that hard. The editing afterwards can take hours. You know, way more time than the actual recording process. That's the easy part, and a lot of content creators find that out fast. However, if you're trying to hire an editor in the United States, editors are not the cheapest thing in the world in the United States. It's a growing industry. It's a hot industry. Everybody wants to be a YouTuber. Everybody wants to, not just a YouTuber nowadays. I still use the term YouTuber because I'm a boomer.
I think content creator is just the
content
best term.
creator. Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Honestly, because some people just produce on TikTok. Some people just produce on YouTube. Some people just produce on whatever.
On Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah, reels and shit. And so whatever you're doing, content creators, it's popular. It's hot. It's what everybody wants to do. It's super saturated. So getting an editor in the United States is expensive. So you can look elsewhere in some of these countries where for them, a much lower rate per hour is still you're not, some I've heard other creators.
Let me correct you for 1 second.
Sure.
A much lower rate per hour USD, because the conversion rate from USD to some of these other countries is phenomenal. And currencies is phenomenal. So you think you're paying a person less because you're basing it on US currency or USD, but then yet converting it into theirs, it's actually really good pay for them, in their currency. So yeah.
And I don't know the exact, just to be completely honest too, I don't know the exact conversion. So I don't know if it's really great pay, but it's a livable wage. For much less than what we have here. Like it would be comparable to probably paying an editor, like, it depends on the country, but like, $20 an hour here, probably.
Right.
It'd be similar, or so it seems. Again, I'm not an expert on it, but anyways, you have some of these countries like Sri Lanka, India, countries like the Philippines, which is where both Codations and my editor are from. We have separate editors, but they're both from the Philippines. And I've used a lot of people throughout the years in different countries. And I found the Philippines has just always been one of my favorite countries to work with. They've always, at least for me, I've always had really good luck with them being very hardworking, not seeming like they take advantage of the fact that it is all online and you're not sitting there watching over their shoulder like in a normal business. I've just never felt ripped off working with Philippines. Whereas some of the other countries, I've had more issues with. For example, and hey, we're talking. I'm gonna call them out.
Hey,
Sri Lanka. I will never hire another person from Sri Lanka, man. Like India was all right. Sometimes there's a language barrier there. That's the problem I have with India mostly is just the language barrier sometimes. But Sri Lanka, man, I went through like 3 editors in Sri Lanka before I finally was like, why am I not going to the Philippines? Trying to get a little cheaper.
Right.
But anyway, so I've had really good luck with the Philippines. So anyways, to say all that, so that's where we started going to. And again, to kind of bring us full circle. So with all of that said, if you're looking to hire someone, hiring overseas is the best idea for an editor. So let's explain the process. So you started looking for an editor. And so what was the process of you trying to find one? Like, I know you said, you had 2 people on, but you actually had way more than 2 editors at first because you had people apply for a job and everything.
Yep. So essentially we just hit up, what is it? It's like what was it? Onlinejobs.ph. And PH standing for Philippines. So essentially, you basically come up with whatever you want for your, job, essentially, it to be. So if you're looking for a video editor, for instance, you're going to basically post an ad for that video, that for a video editor. There's a lot that goes into that. You help set me up on, kind of like a strategy, I guess is the best way to put it, kind of like a hiring strategy. In essence, you kind of just tunnel in a bunch of people applying for the position. And then you're going to agree to pay each one of these people that have applied for that based on which ones you kind of you have like an open enrollment policy, right? So anybody just applies to the position. Then you review their portfolios, you review their work, everything like that. You pick out the ones that you like the most, that you would want to send them a test video for them to edit. Basically, a lot of companies do that here in America, right? Where you go to apply for a job. If you're in some sort of design related field, a lot of times they will give you some test project. They'll say, hey, take this brochure, take this product, make a brochure out of it, at least for graphic design for me, you know what I mean? And then you have to do that before you even get hired, right? Anyway, so that's essentially what we did there. We basically, I had a test video ready to go. I had all my video assets ready to go. We basically, we reviewed, I don't even know how many, 30, 40 applicants. I picked like the top 10 that I really, really liked out of all of those, sent them a test video, basically gave them a 48-hour window and said, I want you to edit this video. You got 48 hours, to edit this video. I'll pay you, their rate, for each hour, that they spend on the video. video up to 48. And then we basically review those videos. I mean, I took a look at those videos, reviewed them. And then I picked a person at that point, picked a person, to then potentially start working with or hiring on. Mine was a little bit difficult because I got down to those two guys, that I really, really liked. One, I really liked their editing style, but they had a little bit less lack of detail, right? Where, they kind of left some misspelled words and left some different stuff, put in there, in the clip. The other one was a very clean editor.
And by other stuff, you mean like where you would mess up a line and you would repeat the line.
Correct.
He wouldn't cut that. So it did seem like a language barrier, which is something you sometimes gotta, is an issue with some, overseas editors and stuff. But yes, continue.
Yep. Yeah. You're good. Yep. Yeah. Basically just, me talking and voicing, him putting text, down in the bottom, writing the text out to pop up on screen when I said something. Some of those words were incorrect, according to what I was saying. Again, kind of a language barrier thing. But there was that. And then, like you said, yes, there were some bad takes is what I call those. I mean, still left in the clip that, they just didn't do or take out. And then the other person, on the other hand, had less, transitions and effects and edits, but everything was spot on. So the language was there. Everything was spot on. Every word was correct, spelled correctly, used in the right tense. And then, all the bad takes were taken out. So I had basically two options, at that point. I had a person that isn't quite, the top of the line, when it comes to, effects and all this stuff, or at least maybe their style. And then I had but they're very, on point where I don't have to, chase after them and constantly redo stuff myself. And then I had another person who I really loved their editing style. It fit my energy level. Everything was great. But then, there's I was going to have to potentially go back, and, correct a lot of this stuff from time to time.
Correct. And so before we move on then to you then go into your other editor or whatever happened there.
Yep.
Because you said you worked with each of them for a month. But before we get in there, so my question to you is, so from that beginning process, the posting a job listing on onlinejobs.ph, getting a bunch of applicants to send you their portfolios, picking a group of people out of those to actually send a test video to, which again, as Cody says, at least for me and him, I know there's people that just have people do a test video and they kind of do it like here in the States where it's kind of like, I don't know, an internship or something like, hey, you want the job, edit this, and they don't pay. I told Cody I pay. I basically told him he should pay, in my opinion. I think it's the right thing to do because you're using someone's time. And so you're basically paying for the same video to be edited like 10 times.
Yeah. 10. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you can probably post one of them because obviously you're not going to post the same video 10 times.
Right.
I always told Cody, the way I look at it is, in the States, if you were doing a hiring process, you'd spend a lot more than just paying, 10 people from the Philippines to edit the video. So, I think it's the best way to do it. But in doing all that, is there anything you would do differently looking back at it now? Did you think the process, the way we did it, do you think that's the way other people should do it? Do you have 100%, any kind of pointers?
100%. No. I think 100%. I think, I don't know, man. I think the process was pretty streamlined. And I didn't have any backlash or anybody come back with anything, like anything negative to say or anything, to ask questions, nothing. I mean, like everything seemed to be, pretty smooth. I mean, we covered all of our bases. I want to say the only thing that I think I wish I would have done better maybe would have been to really batch send them out because the audience doesn't know this until now, but you kind of know, remember, like I didn't get all my applications in right away. Remember? So like, the first 48 hours, the first like couple days that I had that ad posted, I had a really fast amount of attraction of like, 20 people. And then I had so many hours or a day or two where I didn't get hardly anything. Mm-hmm. So I went ahead and picked out like 5 people out of those 20, and then sent a response back to them. And then when I did that one was in my opinion, a throughput, right? Where like I had everything listed out, basically what we planned, and done. And then a day or two went by again where I didn't hardly get anything. And then all of a sudden, another swarm of, 20, 30 applicants came in. And at that point, I kind of was really lazy in our responses. And it was more of like, oh, hey, okay, sounds good. Your portfolio looks great. Here's a test video. I just want you to edit it type of mindset. Which then led, to 4 or 5 days, of me talking to these other people. These are people where I just didn't give them, the perfect laundry list. Of instructions. And instead, it consisted of me 4 or 5 days, them replying back to me. And again, the time shift, them replying back to me when I'm sleeping, and then me waking up, not realizing it. It's 12 o'clock noon. I respond back to them, it just was a disaster. So I think.
And so then they weren't able to keep what you're saying. The reason for all this is then they weren't able to keep their timeline of being done in 48 hours.
Correct. And so with that being said, yes, the first batch, pristine, perfect. I mean, as good as we could have done it, I think that was probably the smoothest way that I've ever seen something like that done. I mean, not hiring an editor, because I've never hired an editor, but you know what I mean? Like, in that hiring process, I thought it was good. And then, then the second half of that, and then the second half of that, I botched it, but I also didn't hold that against them. You know what I mean? It just made it more difficult for me, because then I was tracking these in, I was tracking them individually, because then I had one guy that was like 30 something hours in, and then I was just talking to the second person. So then they're 40, you know what I mean? They're 40 hours stuck. And at that point, I just kind of just said, screw it. You know what I mean? And I just gave them to like the end of the week, and I just, collected everything I got in and didn't hold them to that standard. And I just kind of forgot about the 48-hour metric, and I just was kind of like judging them based on their work at that point, which it didn't really matter.
Right. And just to point out to other people, the reason you kind of do the time limit at the beginning is you're not just looking for the best, and this is what I told Cody when he first started looking.
So I think I asked you that question. I was like, I'm giving him a time edit or a time or something like that. I think I asked that.
And I, because to me, when I'm looking to hire someone, it's not like you're not looking necessarily for the best editor. Obviously, you want the best editor. However, you also want an editor that's going to be timely, that's going to be getting shit done when you tell them you want it done, that you're not constantly having to look over, especially working with someone like this out of country and stuff, where you're constantly having to look over their shoulder or hound them for projects and they're not getting them to you. And so by doing that, you giving them that timeline, it's not even that you necessarily need that video back, because again, you're not going to post all 10 of them. I mean, it don't really matter. It's just that, trying to see who can follow instructions, who can meet deadlines when you give them to them. Because as I told Cody, if you find a decent editor, they can always continue to learn after you hire them. They can always 100%. Get better and become a better and better editor. But things like being timely, being on time with projects, I think those are more ingrained in people, almost like as their character, as their personality, or whatever you want to call it. Like a person that's always late to everything, they're probably always going to be late to everything. And that's fine. But for a business that don't always, especially for what we do, it doesn't always work. Like we all know that. Like we all have people in our lives where it's like, we have a family member, they're always late to everything. Like, and that's just who they are.
Yeah. And you could never, and you could, Right. But I mean, the same principle applies. I mean, you know what you could trust that person with and not trust with that person with, because you know that they're always going to be late. So, you need somebody to be there right there, prompt on time. You're probably not going to call that person. You know what I mean? You're going to call somebody else that would meet that demand. Same principle applies here. We're judging that person based on that. So I mean, that or as one of the options, and I agree. I mean, you're hiring an editor. Yes, you're hiring another human being, but at the same time, you're also hiring them for a specific task. They've got to be able to meet the task. If they can't, then they don't make the cut. I mean, that's the way it works.
Exactly. If they're a salesperson and they're late to everything and they're lazy, but they're getting you sales, then that's fine. But for an editor, you need the videos back on time. So punctuality is a big thing. So again, the point of all that is just to kind of, let people know, like, you're not just looking for the best editor. Because you could hire the best editor and it could turn out to be one of the worst hiring decisions of your life. Right. And then that leads to the second part, which is if you do make a mistake like that, fire them and get another one. So Cody, how did you go from working with two to, did you end up picking one of those and then switch to the second guy, or what happened with all that?
Yeah. So to kind of just break it all down. So as I mentioned before, I was stuck with those two options. When I came down to those two options, I mentally thought, I was like, okay, listen, here's my two editors. Here's my two problems with both of these editors. Which one of these can I live with and which one can I not live with? The first one was, again, very, very clean, smooth edits. Everything was there. It wasn't over the top, wasn't, embellished edits. It didn't really meet my high energy in my videos, but at the same time, it was persistently accurate. The second one was not quite as accurate. I had to kind of babysit, for lack of better words, here and there, go in afterwards, kind of make a couple revisions. Hey, change this, typos. Yeah. Fix some typos, fix this, take this out. Hey, there's this cut where I say the same sentence twice and I messed up on the first sentence. Can you take that clip out, ripple delete it, put it back in there? And
I like how you just learned what a ripple delete is. So you had to throw that in the podcast today.
Listen, don't even Bro,
I'm calling it. I'm calling you out on
it. Listen, dude. I've been
saw
doing
your
graphic.
post that you just learned it.
Listen, I've been doing graphic design, dude, since 2015 out of college. And for some reason, my professor never taught us ripple delete unless I was skipping class that day. Let's just be honest. Okay. So with that being said, I was never, ever taught ripple delete. Absolutely game changer when it comes to editing videos. 100%. But anyway, so back to what I was saying is like, I didn't want to let go of his editing style because it fit my personality so well. So what I did is I just told myself, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give it a week, right? I'll use both of them. They both won't know that I'm using both of them, right? I just won't set up any contracts. I won't do anything crazy. I'll just send them a couple of videos, and we'll just compare and contrast and see how it works. The second thing that you taught me or wanted me to test out, I'll let you explain this in a second on a business side of things, was getting them to make changes. How does that person respond? What is their response back when you say, hey, can you make X, Y, and Z change, or this revision or whatever, and getting that response back? So I'll let you kind of fill in the audience on why that's important as well from a business side.
Yeah, well, I just think it's important because at the end of the day, especially with what we're doing, content creation, I look at it as an art form. And at the end of the day, it's your art. And at the end of the day, I know the editor is going to put their spin on their edits. It's going to have some of their personality in it or whatever. But at the end of the day, it is your business. It is your art that is being produced. You're hiring someone to help you produce your art.
Right.
You got your art to the point that it was making money that other people were willing to pay, whether that's with actual dollars or whether that's with their time that then produces you dollars. You got to that point. So, it is your art that did it. And you, at the end of the day, need to have the complete control over deciding what stays, what doesn't stay, what gets changed, what doesn't. But the problem is not everybody's willing to accept that. A lot of artists can get very hurt. A lot of artists tend to be very sensitive, very in touch with their feelings, which means they can get crushed they can almost take offense if you ask them to change something. And so to me, by having them do that, by just, I always say, make them change something all the time. Even if it's not even really something even if it's something simple, have them change it. Because number one, I think it reminds them that I hate to say it this way, but they work for you. Because that is the truth. Again, it's your business. Right. They're not the ones that build it up and then it's paying their hard-earned money out to someone else. And so I think it reminds them of that. But then I also think it gets not just them, but it also gets you in the habit of not becoming lazy or complacent with just letting somebody else take over. Because again, they're not you, and you were able to get it to this point, which means you're going to be the person that probably needs to continue getting it to the next point. The truth is most content creators never end up making any money. If you're making a couple $100s a month from your content, you're probably in the top 1% of content creators.
Right.
Believe it or not. Because most people never end up making anything from their content.
100%.
So again, I just think those reasons it also, and so then it shows you, all of that to say, so at the end of the day, when you're doing that, it's just another way of weeding people out. If they're late all the time, you get rid of them. If you ask them for a change and they're giving you a hard time or they're throwing a fit or whatever, you get rid of them. I'm very much, and this is not like a me thing. I hear Gary Vaynerchuk say this all the time, Gary V. Nobody's good at hiring. What you got to get good at is firing. Mm-hmm. You got to be if something's not working, you got to fire them. You got to get rid of them. That's right. It sucks because like Cody said earlier, you have, a lot of these people, like my editor.
Yeah. They're another person. Yeah. They're another human being. Right. They're another human being. These aren't 10-year-old kids, being sitting at home with their parents and have no obligations or responsibilities. These are actual adults, content creators themselves, that are artists in their own right. And they've got mouths to feed. They've got families that relying on them. They need that money just like everybody else does. But at the same time, just like taking that mentality from any other job, you've got a guy, that sucks at ringing out groceries, and it's just slowing down the time and people are getting backed up in over time, you got to cut that person, because, they've got to learn in their life, too. There's a lot of stuff that has to happen,
Yep, exactly.
So I agree with that. But anyway, so going back to kind of my story here. So I guess essentially I just got to a point where I test them out for both a week, right? And I would send them videos, both. Sometimes, a lot of times I send them the same video, even though again, I'm kind of paying for stuff that I'm already getting by one of them. But it wasn't so much a comparison between the two. I was testing 2 of them. So the first one that was, again, super, super clean, pristine, everything was where I wanted. It just wasn't there. I was challenging them to come up with additional edits, right? And what I was doing was I was sometimes using one of the videos from the other editor. I was like, hey, I like this style. Can you add some of this, or, take from some of this, take some inspiration from this, and kind of work it into this video. Sometimes I was just showing random videos on YouTube that I like the editing style. Like, hey, try this out. And things were improving. They were throwing them in there. They were trying them out. It was working. It was great. But the person was always on time, always responsive. Every time I sent a message back to them, they always would get always right back to me the moment they could, right? I mean, like, the moment I knew that person was, clocking in, basically, right, to work. I know their time schedule based on just talking with them. They were always there. They were always responsive. The other person, on the other hand, I did not have one single video edit that I did not need revisions on. And so I constantly was asking for revisions. The revision, I would always get the first take revision without any hassle. The second and third revision, because the first revision, they would miss some of the revision that I wanted done. The second revision always came with hassle. It was always, I'll have to just get to it as soon as I possibly can get to it, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Kind of response back. And I'm like, okay, I need this video. You know what I mean?
You're working for me full time. What do you mean?
Right. So then there was that kind of level of disconnect. Then the level of promptness. They told me that, okay, at 10 o'clock your time, 10 o'clock PM, when I'm about to get off to go to bed, type of thing, they're starting their day. I'd message them, it'd be 10 o'clock at night. And then sometimes I wake up the next morning and then I have a message from them, but they didn't message me until like 1 PM or 1 AM my time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm just like, if this is how it's going to be, going forward, you know what I mean? Like, I can't rely on this person. I love their edits. Sure. They're keeping up with my energy. The edits are punching where they need to punch.
And by you love their edits, you mean their style.
Correct. Their style. Exactly. Their style. Yeah. Their style. The way that they delivered my my content at the same time of animations and transitions and, their style of the way they do it. I love that. But again, from a business standpoint, I had to make that decision. It's like, I don't want another hassle. I'm already short on time. I'm hiring an editor, to save me time. And if I have to constantly babysit this other person to try to get them to do something for me, when in return, I probably could have taken all that time and just done it myself. From a business standpoint, I just couldn't do that. So what I did was I made the decision just to hire the one.
And you did say he was improving by you showing,
correct.
And I bring that up to, again, kind of go back to what we said at the beginning. That's why sometimes now, again, I know you ended up getting somebody else, which is fine. Yeah. Again, it still goes back to the original, what I was saying, and just kind of reminder to people out there, like, sometimes the best editor isn't necessarily, in terms of like he matches the style, because if they're a decent editor, like this guy that Cody's talking about, they can learn. You can say, hey, I would like to see some more of this. I would like, and they will do that. Right. And over time, it does get more and more your style, or at least a style that you two kind of merge and manage together. And it kind of becomes your guys' style. But anyway, so just, again, throwing that out there, that's why I think it's important to not just worry about them being the best editor, but all these things you're talking about.
Right.
You see. That's why I talked about him originally, because you see what it leads to when you're, I love this guy's style. I'm gonna try him out because I think I can get past all this shit. And then you're like, this motherfucker.
And then you're like, all right, dude, I love your fucking style, but if it takes me 5 days, to get this one video out, I've already got 10 videos recorded in 5 days. You know what I mean? It's like, this is just ridiculous. But anyways, so I chose to hire this guy. I basically started off with like a 1 month trial, right? Where, like, I was going to hire him for 1 month. We're just going to kind of do a checkup system.
So just to clarify, this was another month, because
correct.
You said, hey, let's do one more trial month.
Well, it wasn't so much. Well, it wasn't so much trial. I basically said, hey, I want to hire you. I've picked you because the first month, they knew I was using.
Okay.
I was respectively doing that because I didn't want, I want them to be plugged into my content, right? But I didn't want them to be like, well, I didn't edit this video. You know what I'm saying? So like,
plus a little bit of healthy competition is never bad sometimes.
Right, exactly. Well, no, but for realistically though, I mean, how do you light a fire underneath another employee's ass? I mean, essentially you cater to hiring another employee. You're like, hey, like, listen here, man, you want your spot, you gotta kick it in gear. I mean, the NFL doesn't just pick some fucking Joe Schmo off the street. I mean, they got people, applying for the job. But essentially, I mean, again, they both knew that the first month, right? Like and so the second month, I basically was like, look, I cut the other guy. I like you. You mean, a lot. You mean, I think we can work well together. However, I do want to do this. This is my first time hiring an editor. I kind of explained everything. I'm super open, and I was like, the first time hiring an editor, I want to do a test trial run for a month, just using you. I want to check. I explained, I'm looking for my ability to keep up pumping out videos to you, right, to keep you busy. Your promptness in delivering those back to me, how well we work together and communicate, and then just basically kind of laid it out. And that's, I kind of like explained, this is what I'm looking for, and we started working together. It was okay. And what I mean by that is just, it was never felt like bread and butter, right? It never felt like, peanut butter and jelly. I mean, it was kind of like a person across the world that I really didn't know, that I would send them a video for them to edit, right? And then most of the time it got lack of communication where like I would send them a video and I wouldn't get nothing back. Like there would be no, like I do like a full description, right? I'd be like, okay, here's this video, here's a couple, some things, to look out for. Here's some timestamps, here's this. And I'd get back a thumbs up. It was fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, the experience was okay. It was just, they would get a video back to me, it would upload. I would get no notification that it uploaded. I mean, they wouldn't send anything back. We're speaking through Discord, by the way, through a channel. I wouldn't get any information back. They didn't say that it was submitted. I'd have to go to the Google Drive and look. I mean, and see. And I'm like, oh, they did upload a video. I mean, then I'd review the video. And again, it was okay. The video edits didn't ever really change. I was like, hey, can you incorporate some, additional in this? They did for that first like trial month, with the other person having that competition there. But it just didn't really change. I mean, they tried a couple of times. I mentioned it a couple more times. They never really, you could tell they didn't really want to do that. They were more of like just kind of a chop, jump cut, edits, and call it a day type of thing. And it was fine. Again, I was satisfied, right? I mean, like, it was saving me some time. They were editing some videos on top of that. I was able to post additional videos. It was fine. But completely off the rails, completely going against anything that I've ever said the entire podcast. I randomly got a message off of that onlinejobs.ph from one of the editors that did do a test video for me. Hindsight, never heard anything back from them. So I sent them the test video, said, hey, I love your edits. Your portfolio is amazing. Like, here's a test, send them that full laundry list of instructions. Here's what I need you to do in 48 hours. Never heard anything from them. And this was over a month now that I never heard anything from them. Out of the blue, I get an email from the guy through the site that says, it's like a, 2 paragraphs worth of information. And it's like, dude, I completely forgot to ever check this check this website. I didn't even get any notification indicator, anything like that. I'm just now tuning into the site and was like, dude, I really want to still edit this video. The link is now expired, right? I can't access the video, was like, are you still looking for a video editor? And at the time I'm like, and I want to say, and again, I'm not trying to make an excuse, but I want to say it was like 12 a.m. my time. I'm super tired, like getting off of a stream or something. And I was like, his portfolio is very impressive, right? And it's like, let's just test the waters. So I literally just took that video that I had already posted that night, right, on YouTube, that I just edited myself. I took it, uploaded it to Google Drive, sent him the link, right? And I just basically copy and paste the same instructions, right? You got 48 hours to edit this video, send it to him. Literally within like 10 hours, I woke up the next morning, that video was done way past my expectations. I mean, within 10 hours, I was like, whoa, I'm like, no errors. I'm like, I watched the entire thing probably 10 times, sent it to like 5 people. And I'm like, bro, I love this. Like, I'm like, the energy is here. Everything is here. He's prompt. He had sent me. So he edited the video, right? Put the video into the Google Drive, thing, sent me like 5 messages. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I really do appreciate it. The videos dropped here. It took me 10 hours to edit, literally just on point. And when I got that, I was like, ooh, this is going to be tough, right? So I was like, okay. So then I started sending him videos. And so then, I started using them for a couple of days. The other guy already had a couple videos to work on. That he was working on. And so I just didn't send him anything new. For like 2 to 3 days. So both of them are still working on their own individual videos. And I was getting the second guys way faster. Way faster, more precise. The style was on point. Everything was where I wanted to be. I was like, okay. I already know the answer, right? Because, I got the 1 or 2 videos back from the other guy, my first guy that I was using, still nothing changed. It was just satisfactory, you know what I mean? And I was just like, yeah, I already know what my answer is. So I reached out to my first editor and I kind of explained the situation. I said, hey, it's been a month, we've been working together. I said, I really, appreciate all the help and time that you've put into all of this. I explained that, as I mentioned before, it was kind of like a trial month. However, I would like to know that, I'm going a different direction. You know what I mean? I'm going to no longer, be in need of your video editing services. I said, however, I'm going to, always keep you in, in my contact list, things like that. If I ever need anything going forward, if you're open to it, I'll definitely reach out, to do something, something there in the future, if that's the case. And they were genuinely happy, he responded back. He was like, okay, yeah, no, I completely understand. Thank you very much for reaching out. Let me know. And that's kind of how I left it with that other editor. And he, again, he's still my friend in Discord. I still got his information here, and that's kind of what I did. And then from there, I kind of just took it full scale with the other guy. I kind of reached out to him and I'm like, dude, here's my situation. And I let the second guy know. I'm like, here's my situation. I've been using an editor. You already know that. Such and such, I basically told him, here's what I'm looking at. I want to do this full time with you. If you're a game, you working for anybody else, how's all, what I mean? Basically setting the ground foundation for this other guy. And he was just like, no. It's like, I'm all yours. He's like, I'm willing to, to work with you full time, do all this. I love how you give me instructions. I love how we do all this. I think we work well together. We talked, and that was the other thing too. The other guy wouldn't get in a Discord call with me. So my first editor, I tried asking him to get in a Discord call to kind of do like a meeting, not video. I respect that. Not people to be on video, but like just calling and talking, and they just wouldn't. They always had some excuse. He didn't come out and just say he didn't want to. He just always had some excuse, and he didn't. He couldn't make a Discord call. The other guy was immediately available. I got on the call and he was talkative, very active, and again, you can tell you have that human experience, right? You can tell. I'm like, yeah, dude. And so I found out a lot more about my second editor. Again, he's married, he's got a kid, basically same situation I am. His passion is video editing. He wants to do it full time. He wants to just be, a great video editor. And that's what he's been doing, for X amount of years. And, he just got done working with a really big content creator, and might not by done, meaning like he was just hired on a like retainer. So he got paid per video that he did. There was never a contract to sign or nothing like that, and he
so it wasn't like full time. So he was looking
correct. And so he was just looking for, instead of only being hired to do a video here and there, whenever they needed him to do a video, he wanted to be where somebody had videos for him. Yeah. And so sure enough, so we made the connection, and he cut his ties to the other person. And I basically was like, let's go. Spun up another Discord for my channel, basically, and became a file dump, and was like, here's all the resources you need. And we're in contact every single day, all day long, pretty much.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I do think, just to point that out, because you said, at the very beginning, before you went into this spiel about the new editor, you said going against everything I said for everything we've said in this. And I'll say, like, it's funny. That's a funny statement, but it's also true. And that is important, I think, to mention as well, is like, there is always the exception to the rule. We're taught like there is always, and sometimes like humans do genuinely something like that happens where they mess up, and at the end of the day, if they turn around and then they're doing what you need them to do, and they're working the way you need them to work, especially fitting your style and all that stuff, and everything's just, you hit it off, because that's important too, the chemistry between you guys, just all that stuff. Like, fucking yeah, don't hold those rules. It's kind of like, how I feel about religion. Don't turn your spirituality into religion. Like, don't turn your rules for hiring an editor into etched in stone. Like, all rules can be broken, all rules can be changed. They're just there to kind of guide that
process. It's yes, the guy that process. Yeah. And like I said, and that, I mean, just to kind of, go back, I know, kind of like what you did there. I mean, yeah, I mean, my statement wasn't saying like, like reversing everything I did. It was just more or less just trying to make a light of a joke by saying the guy didn't follow the rules, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I get that, but at the same time, like you said, all the other stuff factored in, you know what I mean? And because all the other P's and Q's, were met, it was kind of like, okay, well, sure, they didn't get back to me right away, stuff happens, people have real life stuff going on, he was straight honest with me. He's like, dude, I didn't even check back into the site, you know what I mean, for whatever reason. He's like, and then now that I did, I hate, I shoot, because he even said it, he's like, I shoot myself in the foot, because he's like checking out your channel, and he's doing the research, checking out your channel, looking at your stuff, you know what I mean? He's like, man, you're pumping out daily videos, you have the content there for me to edit, and I'm just like, yeah, I mean, I do, here's a second test, you know what, I believe in second chances. Here's an option. Edit. Wow me. Boom. And he came back swinging. And I was like, okay, I can't even argue with it. You know what I mean? And so, and not only that, like, I guess I failed to mention too, I mean, I had him even make revisions. Yeah. I mean, like you said, just to kind of see what his response was. And boom, he made the revisions. He comes back and he's like, hey, I'm about to drop the video in here. Can you mind, reviewing it really quick on that revision and making sure it's done? If not, I'll go in. I've got it pulled up still, here in Adobe, that I can do an edit for you. And I'm just like, okay, right. I mean, again, it's just when it clicks, it clicked. And I was like, I mean, I'm giddy talking about it, because with me finding that and really, making that connection, it made it a lot easier mentally to separate that money. You know what I mean? You mean it made it a lot easier for me to be like, okay, like, like, I know this, I'm getting to know this other person. I know it's another human on the other end. I know, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of hard to explain. It's a lot easier to justify that versus not really having that connection with somebody. And it's very much of being like, oh, I'm just going to upload this in here. Here is this, can you, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get it. It is hard to explain. You're right, but I get it because I've been there. But that's why, like what's coming to my mind right now as you're saying this is I remember, I don't know if you remember, but there was like, after you started hiring, we went through the whole process, and I kind of held your hand going through the hiring process. And I don't say that but I'm just saying, like, but then
he did hold my hand. He's not lying. He physically held it.
Right, but I'm saying that to say my point, which is once you had your editor, I kind of just disappeared off of it.
Yeah.
And if you remember, you sent me, I remember at least 2 different messages. One was something like, I don't even know what I'm sending to these editors. I don't even know why. And there was another one where it was kind of like, you're like saying, like, almost like in your brain, you're questioning whether even hiring an editor was the right choice.
Yeah.
And I never responded back to him at all.
Either one.
I didn't say it, because I'm like, just gotta wait, let him feel, because I knew, like, eventually once you have that click and you do find that person, you find that right thing, and then they are responsive and they are saving you time, then it just becomes, you're like, oh, how did I live without this person? And it just,
dude,
and it just goes
like I'm at that point now. Do you know what I mean? And there's still so much stuff to figure out between me and this guy. I mean, you know what I mean? Because remember, I was telling you about this the other day, like just talking about him, like, our schedules are almost parallel, even though he lives in the Philippines. So I'm at work, he's at work working on my videos. You know what I mean? So it's like, and that to me was already mind boggling, because, between the first couple of guys, they were working when I'm sleeping. You know what I mean? So now we're kind of, working at the same time. The downside is I can't work on my videos during that time. Right. So, you know what I mean? Right. So now, there's that challenge. I mean, there's still a lot of stuff to figure out with finessing with the guy, but it's hard to explain. There's just that magic, like, I don't know, like essence. And I've never worked at a job where I did hiring. So I don't know if that's the same thing you get when you hire an employee. Do you get that kind of, if you do hiring correct and you're a good boss, maybe, but like I'm saying, like, but like, do you get that kind of feeling, like, where you're just like, yeah, this guy seems like a great fit. I mean, I don't know, because that's kind of how I felt with this editor. I hired him and things just started, I don't know, they just felt different compared to like hiring an okay person, right? You're like, all right, cool. Yeah, they've got the skills to get the job done. You know what I mean? They're going to be able to get the job done at, a C grade or a B grade. I'm just using this as a term, you know what I mean? And then yet you find the person that can make straight A's, and you're just kind of like, whoa, now I'm, living on cloud 9. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know,
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think it goes back to just, I'm of the belief that it is always about relationships. And so I think it's just, you find that person you click with, you like their style matches your style, their energy matches your energy,
whatever you're not babysitting them, you're not have to do all this extra stuff.
Like you don't have to, because you guys just kind of match in a weird way.
Right.
And when you find someone like that, like, does it have, I've hired people, does it happen all the time? No. Like, sometimes you are working with just a C or a B grade person, and they might be an A, but when we say C or B, you just mean that you don't necessarily click with them the way you do with some
correct
people. But it is nice when you find that person.
We're saying A, B, and C, by the way. Yeah, by the way, audience out there, we're saying A, B, and C. We're not grading the person's quality. We're grading the relationship factor between the relationship mesh. That's what we're basically grading it off of.
Because just like I mean, you put 20 different photographers in a room and their photos up on a wall, and me and you are standing there, we're probably not going to pick the same photo as our favorite photo. Like, we have different styles. And so, I mean, it's the same thing. Like, it's just about finding that person that matches your style, matches what you like. And then once you do, I think the reason you become excited is because you see it as it's a piece of art that you are excited in seeing. Like, just like that, if it was your favorite photograph, like, you would be excited because, versus if you go to a photography show, and I'm using photography because I do photography, but you go to a photography show and you see 20 images and you don't like any of them, you're probably not going to be that excited about the event.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's what brings the excitement, is you find someone where you're like, oh, their style fits, I like what they produce, I like their art form, and then you run with it, because then you're thinking like, oh, I need to make something for them to make something, so that then we have this thing.
Oh yeah, 100%. And that's kind of what we've done. I've kind of like ran with the whole Twitch side of things, kind of bringing this back full circle, making, starting content on Twitch, streaming on Twitch. And a lot of it just went back to, his worry, in our conversation back and forth, his worry was, I told him a lot of times right now, I'm trying to get in a better habit of recording content ahead of time. Me, my schedule, I've been recording videos the same night, editing them, posting them the same night. I have nothing ready to go for tomorrow. Right. So in doing that, hiring an editor is impossible, because you're never gonna, unless if you start to, like you said, batch record or do stuff ahead of time, you can't really pass that off to them, because if you're trying to post by a certain time and all that other stuff. So that's kind of what I was explaining to him, talking to him at the first part and stuff. And his only worry was me not delivering enough content. His only worry was him editing this stuff, then yet him not, him sitting there, not having anything to do, not getting paid, right? Because he's hourly. And then that's when I just had a bright idea. It's like, wait a second. Like, I'm doing these streams on Tuesdays and Thursdays, playing these other games, you know what I mean? And not only that, I've got these live streams on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays that I'm always getting told by other content creators, you know what I mean? Like, dude, clip all that out. How many viewers am I losing? You mean, that aren't going to go back and watch a 3-hour stream? You mean, that's left up on my channel.
But there could be 3 or 4 videos in that entire stream.
Exactly.
You might have been, somebody asked you a question in the chat, like, hey, what do you think is the best PvP team right now? And you have a whole spiel where you go into like a PvP team and your thoughts behind it. That could be a video. And then like later in the stream, and I know you get this, but explain it for the audience too. That's what's so great about long form content, honestly. And then like later in the stream, somebody asks you a different question, totally unrelated, like, oh, what's the best way to get more top-end pieces? And then you go to the whole spiel about that, and that could become a video. And I think you also start to realize like, oh, well, I already made a top-end video, so you can make another one. It can be the exact same shit. Like, you just make it again.
Yeah. Right. New edits, new thumbnail. I mean, everything. Yeah, exactly. And that's, like I said, and that's kind of what I started to really think about. Right. And I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, I could just start uploading my live streams, to him, and that would give him something right now to edit through. That way he's getting that security, right? He's getting, those hours in, you know what I mean? And on top of that, when I want something to take priority, I just let him know, like, hey, new coupon code just dropped for Cookie Run Kingdom. I'm recording the video right now. You mean, this was at like 12 o'clock at night. I'm like, I'm recording the video right now. I'm going to edit mine, post it immediately. It's like, hey, I'm going to send this video to you right now. I need this into TikTok form. You mean, I need this into shorts. I need this in right now. This takes priority. Stop what you're doing. Boom. Right. I got a response back instantly and was like, yep, I'm ready for it. Send it to me as soon as you're done. So I got it done. It was like a 2-minute video. Got it done. I instantly, started doing my thing, sent it to him, started doing my thing. By the time I was done posting it there, I had it ready to go for TikTok. I had it ready to go. You know what I mean? Like, so that works too. I need them priority, or there's been other things too, where I'm like, hey, these cookie transitions for April Fools, I sent him a video, recording, and I said, hey, I just kind of want to chop this up, make this into smaller videos. Or, I was like, I want a couple TikToks out of this, make 3 different parts, chop them up, put them up yourself. Make the transitions yourself. Boom. He worked on that and got that done. And, then he went right back to, editing a Tiny Tina stream, from Twitch. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, but it's like, and once I started doing that, then I started to see, holy smokes. Now it's like, now I've got TikToks that I can post. Now I've got YouTube shorts that I can continue to grow. Now I've got, extra videos that I can drop during the day on top of my daily video that I'm also working. You know what I mean? And like you said, then it's kind of like a team. It's kind of like, me. And then I've even went above beyond, and people are starting, some of his meme videos he's done for like, my summon sessions for my live stream. People are leaving, dude, these edits are awesome, dude. This is so cool. My audience retention, went up during those videos. And I'm screenshotting those comments, sending them to him. I'm like, dude, they love the edits. You know what I mean? And, and that's building up that character. You know what I mean? Like, hey, dude, you're doing a fantastic job. Keep up the good work. And at the same time, he's like, okay, boss, no worries, man. I got you. And he calls me boss. He doesn't call me code, which is weird, but like, it was weird at first, but then now it's just like, all right, cool, whatever, but it's like, but again, it's just, building up that, like you said, it kind of becomes a team effort where it's like, wow, okay, now we're actually doing this together. Still my content. I still have the ultimate say, he's still, I'm always the final last guy person, putting in the answers, and picking and choosing, but it's still nice because like you said, it kind of takes away from that mentality of, oh gosh, now I got to find that, pay this guy. That I don't know to just do this, and I don't know. It was smooth. I liked it a lot. And I honestly would say that I think it's a very good investment. I don't know if I recommend anybody doing it sooner than what I did. And the reason why I say that is because I think I've learned a lot by having to do it all myself for as long as I've had to do it myself.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think, you know what I'm saying?
You have to know. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, you're good. No, go ahead. Put in what you put.
Well, I was going to say, absolutely, because like you just said, you're the last guy. You're the last stop. You're right. the train station, the last of the line. Yep. That means you have to know what the fuck is going on. Like if you have no idea about editing and you have no idea about, like, you can say, hey, I want more of these transitions, or hey, I would like to see a little bit more of this style, or hey, I would, because those, because you've done it, you've seen it, you at least understand editing enough and what can be done. Maybe you can't necessarily do all the stuff. Maybe you find someone that's a way better editor than you. Great. But you at least have an understanding by doing it that you can say what you need, even though you might not know exactly how that's done. You know what's possible and what's not possible. That's realistic.
I was just about to comment. I was going to interject that. I was going to say, and on top of that, you also know what is possible, and realistic, and what's not realistic. And that to me, I think is worth a ton, because you see somebody, maybe you see a video out there, maybe you see somebody that's got, 3 million subscribers, right? And they're just, their videos, every video they pop out is edited to the top notch, right? It's all calculated, predetermined. Everything is there. And you're like, I want that. It's not bad to have that ambition, right? Like to shoot for the stars. But it also, you need to understand, who you're working with and their capabilities, and also their life and the stuff that they have going on. And not only that, and the cost, do I really want to pay him, 48 hours for one video? And if he's going to do 7 videos a week, you got to kind of, understand, like, okay, that's not realistic. Or, do I want him to, edit, 4 videos in 2 days? You know what I mean? Like, maybe that's probably not realistic. I think there's a lot to take in and to understand and know the process, doing it yourself. And I am glad that I have done that, put in that work. And again, I continue to do that, right? Because I still post videos, daily, right? So I'm still constantly working myself. But on top of that, I wouldn't take it back. At least not finding this guy. Maybe the first guy I could have lived without a little bit, because, I didn't, there wasn't a whole lot of extra, that was coming from him. He was getting one day. Basically, I was producing a video and he'd be producing a video every 2 days, the first guy. You know what I mean? Which is fine. It's whatever. It gave me some extra content. And again, it was just okay. But this guy is, again, he's on point. And that's, and I think, this relationship, I don't think I would take it back. I'm also eager to take it forward. I mean, I'm eager to, you know what I mean, continue pushing our limits and really honing in on what works best for us. I mean, where is that schedule at? You know what I mean? Is it, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And that's kind of where I'm at with that, and he's game for that. I'm like, hey, boom, I got an update coming out next week for Cookie Run Kingdom. I'm going to be just, batch recording. You know what I mean? I'm going to want you at that point when I tell you, stop everything else. You know what I mean? And I'm just going to be hounding you full of, these videos from 5 to, 15 minutes long. You know what I mean? And I'm just going to need you to start, focusing on that. You know what I mean? And not only that, there's a little bit of finessing. I kind of explained to him, we've had a conversation. I'm like, look, I love the meme stuff. I love the stuff that you're doing, right? Unfortunately, it takes you longer to do some of that stuff, right? These quick guides, these quick videos that are coming out, for these updates and stuff, just clean. You mean, clean edit them. You mean, I just need, cut, intro, outro, transition, zooms, pans. You mean, stuff like that.
Basic
stuff,
just
basic stuff, basic stuff, clean cut it, so I can get it posted right away.
The stuff you would do the first and second pass of a video.
Exactly. Basically saying, this is the stuff I want just for these videos. You know what you mean? And then I explain to him, you know what I mean? If there's anything you feel, you mean, that, you being an editor, right, that you feel that could benefit from being in here, just let me know, or just try it. I'll review it, and if it works, it works. And he's done that. There's been one or two that he's done where he just had like a slight meme, like the entire video is there, nice, clean and cut. And then it's like, something happened, or no, what was the last part? He's got some child screaming, right? Like something happened, right? It's like a transition. And then all of a sudden, like at the very end, it's like to end off the video. I don't know where it came from, but it's freaking hilarious. Like all of a sudden it's like, some cartoon chick, and it shows my video playing on her tablet, right? Like, you mean, like it show my video, it zooms out basically. And it's like the chick, like a cartoon chick, or a cartoon anime character looking at a tablet with my video. And then all of a sudden they just go, just like bloody scream, which is hilarious. And then all of a sudden, then it kicks to my outro video, which again, it works. It's subtle, it's there. And also I find out who my real watchers are in my comment section. The people are like, oh, the kid at the end is hilarious, you know what I mean? And I'm like, hey, thanks, man, thanks for watching my entire video, I love you, you know what I mean? Like, but again, it's just, it's hard to explain. I mean, I think it I don't know, the podcast episode now is not going to be catching up. It's going to be how to hire a video editor, but I don't know, dude. I love it, man. Like I said, I think it's good. And I'm excited to see how it progresses in the future.
Yeah. And it is like that. I mean, I think I told you when you were looking that, when I first hired Mark, I thought he was okay, but he was very communicative. He And it's been now, I don't know how long. I'm not a time person. I can't keep track of anything like that.
I'm gonna say over 6 months. I know that.
Yeah, definitely over 6 months. I mean, maybe even definitely
year,
over
probably
6 months. Maybe getting close to a year. I don't know. Mark, put on the screen how long you've been working for me. Right here. Right here.
Right here. I need how long? Right here.
But yeah, like I mean, but now like today where we're getting at, like he's continually improved. He's continually upped his game. I've made comments like, hey, I'll pay for Skillshare, if you want to take classes. I'll buy you books for editing if you need it. Like I'm big on all that stuff. And he's gone out of his way to just keep learning, and we recently switched to where we're doing a lot more instead of doing, I was chopping up live streams and turning them into videos. And, for my personal self, not already having an audience like you do, I was having a hard time getting views on those. I think just because there's literally so much of that on the YouTube, like that's what everybody posts is gameplay videos basically. And so I went back on my YouTube channel, back to like reviews, tutorials, that we've been doing, then he's been focusing more like on TikTok videos, YouTube short videos, hover.gg videos, and all those, and those have been working really well for us. And I've seen his style progress through those. And now he's doing, where he's got, I just love him. Like, and I'm getting the same way. Like I'm finally getting to like, I've always enjoyed his videos. I've always liked them, but I've never had that excitement like you're talking about, like with them necessarily.
Okay, so what does he got in this video?
Yeah, like, oh, I'm excited to see this next one. And now with these clips, especially, and there's been some video like vlogs. I've always enjoyed the vlogs he does, just because number one, probably because they're of my life and
Well,
I like the memories.
They're vlogs, and you love vlogs, so that makes sense.
I do love vlogs. But also like but yeah, these clips, man, they've been getting me really excited. I love seeing what he's doing. I find myself, in the way I say that is like, I have a clip button on my Stream Deck. I have a Stream Deck for when I'm streaming, Elgato Stream Deck, that lets you have shortcuts for things. It's basically like a macro keypad. And I have one like you can to make a clip on Twitch while you're streaming. You hit a button, makes the clip on Twitch automatically. You can go in later, give it a title, shorten, but it makes a 30-second clip.
Can you download it later?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, very cool.
And
cool.
Every once in a while I'd hit it if something really and like happened and I remembered, I'd hit it. And now he's starting to pull some of those out. And so now I'm streaming, I'm fucking smashing that button. I'm like, oh, this would be great for Mark to edit. Boom. Oh, this would be a good one. Boom. Oh, this would be great. Boom. So now he's fucking getting probably 50 fucking clips per live stream.
But that's okay though. I mean, that gives him something that he can work on, which is good. And he can always interject and plug those in wherever. Because I've seen Mark edits, and I think I love the fact that, what was the one that we did when you first hired Mark on? We did Squid Games on Roblox. And I thought it was amazing. The guy pulled it to my stream and pulled my stuff, brought it into your clip, and I was like, what? I'm like, this guy is going above and beyond. And again, I mean, yeah, dude. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah. And that's probably the number one reason that I started working with Mark was he always did that, went above and beyond. He would always do little things that I'd be like, wow, most people would never like that. Like, most editors would never even probably think, hey, I could go to this other guy's live stream and grab his footage and use it in this guy's footage. Like, you just wouldn't even really think that.
Yep. Because they would have just used my voice recording, and I mean, it just would have been what it is, and that you only see your screen because that's the only video they had. Yeah, I agree.
And he had us completely like split screen. Yeah, where he had your footage over here, mine over here, so you saw both viewpoints.
Yeah.
And even like, I mean, like little things like, again, just to kind of pat Mark on the back, because he is a great editor. Let me rephrase. I mean, he's a great editor, yes, but he's a great employee.
Right.
Honestly,
there you
go. More than editor, just because but even like he's made like just in like his free time, he's made t-shirt designs like that for me to use. He's made like he's made memes, like NFT memes for me to post on my Twitter. Not even part of his job, but like he had a funny idea for a meme, and so made it for me to post on Twitter for the NFT.
That's cool though.
And he does stuff like that all the time. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I'm like, I can work with this guy. I can use this guy.
Right.
He loves the work. He loves to do this stuff. You can tell he's passionate about it.
Yep.
And like I said, and now I think we are getting to the point, and mainly because in Mark's defense, I'm very much a hands-off. Like me and Mark, we talk, every day we check in with, almost every day I would say we check in. We're not talking throughout the whole day because we are opposite schedules. He is editing when I'm asleep. Most, his day is when I'm asleep. So we have like the late evening, early morning is when we, chat a bit. And so it's been a lot more hands off. So it has taken a while, at least for me, for it to feel like our styles are starting to mesh. He's starting to see more what I find funny, because there'd be times like he'd edit and I'm like, there was way more funnier parts than this, or just my personal. And I think that's more coming together, and we're kind of finding that middle ground, like you're talking about, where it's kind of like it works for both of us.
Right.
He's getting his creative, he's doing his stuff, but I'm also enjoying the content. Like I said, it's making me smash my clip button all the time because I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great for Mark. Oh, this is gonna be great for Mark. And so I'm excited about that. I'm excited that which that could be a whole nother podcast episode. I have a video coming out on it on the YouTube channel, but I really think in 2022, if you're still making just YouTube videos, you are doing a disservice to yourself. You got to be making short form content that you can post
100%,
not just on TikTok, but also on YouTube and hover.gg. Hover.gg is small. It's new. It's basically TikTok for gaming, but it's 100% targeted traffic. Yeah, it's 100%. Those people are there for gaming clips.
Yeah, by the way, I started posting on there. I received no attraction, but that's because nobody's posting on there for Cookie Run Kingdom, and that's all I've posted.
Oh,
so
yeah.
So I'm not receiving. I'm super early to the game, one, like for sure. But again, anybody that's listening, I'm playing the long game. It's like, nope, I already have content existing. It'll already be on the platform. Also, making new content, outside on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm also going to be clipping that up and posting it on there too. So
and the nice thing is, once you make those clips, like a lot of those, like YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Hover.
It's
it's just then posting the exact same video to all 3 platforms, which is nice. Honestly, you could even do that for Instagram Reels. As I say in this video, kind of my 2022 strategy, I think if you're trying to focus on all of those platforms, it gets too much. I think if you're a newer creator trying to, you hear all these big creators like, oh, you got to be on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. It's too much. It's too much. You got to focus on, like I said, those 3 that I said, you can post the same video on them. They're also really great for discoverability right now. Hover's growing, so it's kind of the one that's really popping off. TikTok, it gives you the one that's kind of like the competition. That are they going to beat TikTok? Probably not, but they're still giving a lot of effort, so they're showing YouTube Shorts quite often because they're trying to compete with TikTok. Eventually will they compete with them? Probably not. TikTok will probably stay king, but then you have something like Hover that's the new kid on the block. Are you going to get a lot of views? No. Are you going to get hardly any views? Probably not. But there's that chance. Like, they're definitely a committed team. They're definitely a committed, brand. They're very active on other social media platforms. There are people, certain games that do really well on Hover and can get you a lot of views.
Oh yeah. What I've noticed right now is I've noticed the pop games are the top runners, like on Twitch, for instance. When there's correct. Fortnite and Call of Duty and War, all that stuff.
Dead by, like, some of the horror games are really popular. Dead by Daylight, Phasmophobia.
Basically the stuff that you would see, like, I don't know, the top like 1,000 people on Twitch. Playing like at the time, that's what's popping off in Hover. That's what's really getting. But it makes sense. You have a larger audience. Those people are going to be more people of those people would be on the platform. That's how it works. But again,
the really cool thing about Hover too, just to kind of, I really am liking the site. And I'm saying all this because if you're not using Hover, anybody out there, I really think you should check them out. And I'm not just saying that because I do hope they grow, because I like gaming stuff, and they're gaming only TikTok basically. And I like TikTok too. So it's like my favorite of 2 things coming together, gaming and TikTok.
Yep, which makes sense.
But like, they also, like, they're very creator friendly. So when people go to your, like, if you have a video post on Hover, if you're live on Twitch, when somebody's looking at that clip, it says you're live on Twitch on the video.
Right.
And on all of your videos, there's a button that'll take them right to your Twitch page.
Yep.
It says Twitch. That you hit that, it takes you right to that person's page. You can hit follow right in the app. Like, it has its own web browser built in, so you don't even have to leave the Hover app, but you can go there, you can follow them, then you can be right back into the Hover app looking at clips again. If they're live, you can go right into their live and just, sit there and watch their live, hang out with them for a few minutes, see if
and
you
I
like
love
them. And so they're very, like, they're most platforms are very afraid to let you take their audience off the app. Hover so far, and part of that's probably because they're new and they're trying to grow, but so far they're very much boom, here's a link right to your Twitch from your profile. You don't even got to put it in, like, it's all connected to your account. We do it for you. You don't got to type nothing in. The other cool thing they do is if you do clips on Twitch, you can load them right up, because your account's actually connected with Hover, so you can load all your, you can see your clips all in the Hover app. You can click one, and it already has in the built-in editor that you're seeing a lot of these other software come out, where it'll automatically transform your horizontal video into, you select your webcam, then you select the gameplay part that you want, and it turns it into the 9:16 format for TikTok.
Dude, I have not even realized that. I didn't even realize that, because I've never actually used it. See, I've always been doing the old method where I'm just taking my TikToks that my editor. Yeah, exactly.
Same. That's what I do mostly there, because that's what Mark's giving me he's doing the editing, and he's adding in, some extra juice to them.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, for people like just starting out, like, you can literally take a Twitch clip, edit it right in the Hover app in 2 minutes, and you're done, and it's in the right format.
But see, and
then you can download it, take it over to TikTok or wherever. So
yeah, dude, that is sick. Yeah, see, I didn't realize that. I had no clue that was the thing. That's cool. So, that's very, very really cool. Site.
So yeah, I would highly recommend check them out, because especially if you don't have an editor or anything yet, like I said, then you can download the video and you can put it on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, but it has everything built in for you. So very cool, man. I'm glad you have an editor though. I'm glad it's working out. I'm glad, like, things did end up working out. I did have one more question for you about an editor, and then we can kind of move off if you want to of the editor stuff. So you said, you haven't produced an extra videos from your live streams. Do you know currently where you're at? So you have about 50,000 subs, 60,000. Where are you at now?
For subs?
Yeah, on YouTube. What size of your channel?
64,000.
64,000. So I'm curious, do you know, are the videos that he's editing extra, are they earning enough to pay him? like, for example, by hiring the editor, are you positive? What's your editor create and make you more money than what you're paying him? Does that make sense?
Well, this editor I've only had for like 2 weeks now.
Okay.
So I haven't really had right. Well, I don't really quite know yet, but at the same time though, like,
so like what kind of views are the live stream
right?
getting?
But that's again where another metric comes into play. I'm also posting on those on off time. So they're not really meant to get the best and most engagement right then. So I mean, I guess that's also part of it, but let's look. I'm gonna pull it up right here.
Yeah, I'm just curious what they, I mean, I know they're not your main stuff and things. I'm just wondering. Because that's all extra content. So that's extra revenue that you wouldn't have if you were back to doing it yourself. So I'm just trying to figure out how much by hiring the editor, like, let's just say you're paying a Philippine editor. I'm just going to throw a number out there. Let's say you're paying them $250 a week. You know, I don't want to talk specific rates because I don't know if you want to share that or anything, but you know, you can find what's a normal rate for a video editor in the Philippines pretty easily online. You know, what is a decent, good rate? But let's just say you're paying them $250 US dollars a week. I'm curious, like, you know, how much are those videos making? Like, are you actually out 4 weeks in a month, $1,000 a month, or are you only out $500 a month, or are you only out $200 a month, or are you positive? Like, are you making an extra 200 off the extra videos that are being produced?
So right now, the two videos that I have posted from him that he sent me, because again, I don't make any money off of TikTok. I don't make any money off of anything else. So the only ones that I have are currently right now, I've only posted 2. And those 2, they're right around $6 is what I've made on them currently. One of them has drove me 4 subscribers. And they're sitting at around 3,000 views. And then the second one is 7 subscribers and they're sitting at 4,000 views, and they're hitting the mark on the same amount as usual. Looking good. This video has gotten 3,800 views, which is similar to 38 to 90, which is a big gap, 38 to 9,800 that your videos normally get. And this one, oh, actually, just kidding, I lied. That one's at $10.
Okay.
For revenue. So I mean, if you do $10, if you do $10, that would be me paying them for like 2 hours worth of editing. You see what I'm saying? Like if you do the math, break it down by hour. But again, I'm still so new with this guy, so I don't know.
Don't have the data quite yet.
Right. But
I'd also be curious, how much more views are you getting on videos that are now better edited? Like, are the retention going up? Are the views going up on those videos compared to when you were editing them? Which again, I just don't think you have that data yet.
Correct.
And how many more views are you capturing by having better edited videos, so to say?
Right.
I think that would all be interesting.
But again, well, that's all data that I want to collect, but at the same time, like I haven't done that. And what
I don't think there's been enough time.
There's not.
Especially since you switched around, different editors and stuff. So, but I was just curious if you had to.
Yep. I mean, I guess if I really wanted to, I mean, I guess I could go back and look and see, like, based on what the other guy was doing. But the other guy, in my opinion, no offense if they are watching this, they weren't doing anything different compared to what I was doing. You know what I mean? So it would be hard for me to you know what I mean? Like, look at the video and be like, oh, because this person did this, we got this uptick, versus me not being like, oh, it's a better topic, it's a better thumbnail that I still designed, by the way. I can't let that power go. I've had too many people talk my head up to the point to the moon to where, Roberto Blake will just drop his name on the podcast. You mean like, he wants to hire me on retainer to design his thumbnails. You think I'm letting somebody else design them? Get out of here. Right. So, you know what I mean? So like,
sometimes, you gotta, and that's part of having a business, is learning what's your bread and butter. Like, what is it that you don't let go, that you keep and hold on to.
Right. But as far as that go, unfortunately I don't at this time. I think in another future podcast episode, we'll try to at least answer it, even if it's like the first section that we do right away before we jump into whatever topic we're talking about. Mm-hmm. You know how it is, man. We cover a lot of YouTube stuff on the podcast.
I just think it would be interesting, because then it might give other people, if they're kind of going for their first, like, how much am I actually going to spend on an editor? Like, how much is actually out of pocket am I going to be losing to hire an editor? My first editor or whatever. I just think that would be some interesting numbers. I operated at a loss on hiring an editor. I do not make hiring an editor, but I make enough money from other things that I've done, luckily. And with my time, the only way to have enough time to do what I want to do, I take the loss on it. So my data, I say that to say my data is not a good data set to kind of figure that out, because I just don't have like enough data, enough views, enough subs or anything.
No, I'm with you. And like I said, going forward, Yeah. And like I said, going forward, oh yeah, that's obviously going to happen. I mean, that's my plan. I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm going to start trying to, again, I'm going to start trying to batch record and get stuff ready to go. So then they are then editing actual videos that I can drop at the actual recommended time, where my engagement is the most, and then compare and contrast, from there and see how that changes and how that caters and everything. But again, I'm just not there yet. And I think it might take a long time or a while, just because for the fact of, me working a 40-hour week job. I mean, me being gone all day long, takes so much time for me to do that. So trying to do that, I guess, I don't know. Or maybe what happens is my extra Tuesdays and Thursday streams, just don't happen. Or maybe I cut down to one stream, per week. You know what I'm saying? So then that way I can give me more time to batch record or whatever, I don't know.
And I'm sure you'll also continue to offload more of the video editing as you get more comfortable with this guy and you find out that scheduling and everything and what you can drop to them and what you can, and
100%
you can turn some around, and so that I'm sure will free up some more time as well. But yeah, whenever you start to, I mean, because I know you're anal about analytics. I mean, I know you kind of watch that stuff a lot and stuff too, maybe not deep dive into them, but I know you're always watching those, so I'm sure if you start to see changes, you'll notice them and pick them out. So yeah, just whenever you have something to share, I'd be just more my personal self, interested in hearing about that. So what else is happening with your YouTube stuff, man? What else has been going on with your YouTube journey? Anything else, or has that just been your main focus? I mean, I guess still growing. Are you? I know you said your revenue was down. Is that okay to talk about? I think you said your revenue was down a little bit right now.
Today.
Is that because views and stuff are down, or
no? I mean, it's
kind of
a little bit of everything. I mean, like my views aren't really down, but yeah, I mean, the algorithm, for the Cookie Run Kingdom stuff isn't really hitting as hard, and I also know that because again, I'm analytical, anal about this stuff. Like, I mean, I look at other content creators in the realm, and a lot of their stuff isn't popping off. I mean, like
I was going to ask, do you know what the player base is doing in Cookie Run Kingdom?
Yeah,
is it still increasing? Is it starting?
Yeah, it's back to its pre Sonic the Hedgehog cycle where an update comes. I mean, right before the update comes, boom, update comes, skyrocket. I mean, a couple of days after the update, it starts the downtrend. I mean, it comes back and then levels back off again. You mean, then in next update, starts talking in, spoofing in, through the roof again. It's doing the same thing. I mean, like, it's not the analytical data doesn't really change a whole lot with Cookie Run Kingdom, unfortunately, unless, like I said, something huge like Sonic the Hedgehog collaboration, pops in, boom, it's popping and booming. That's one down factor.
But what about player base overall? Is the player base player downward thing, or is it still increasing? Or
you mean like app data? You mean like app data increase, like
monthly active players? So like World of Warcraft, they might have 10 million active players, and then a month later it might be 9.9, and then 9.8, like it's going down.
It's stable.
Stable. So they're pretty much like, and I'm just making up numbers, but 10 million active players, and it's been staying that. So views are down, but their player base and stuff is still the same.
Their player base is consistent. The downside with their stuff, their downloads and installs and uninstalls are so wild again around updates, because people have to uninstall the app because it's not installed, not downloading the update, so they have to kick it off. So I mean, you've got red and green numbers. I mean, like almost identical every single update. We get a massive intick of installs and a massive intick of uninstalls. I mean, the exact same, which is so goofy. I mean, it's so goofy how it works. So I mean, it's hard to gauge that. But no, I mean, my views are consistent. If you look at my analytics on YouTube for my channel, it's consistent. I mean, that's the best way to explain it. Like, sure, I've got some videos that pop off. You mean where I get, double the amount that I normally do on a video, and then sometimes I get a video, again, that's just right in line with all my other videos. And my average right now is like, I want to say 6,000 to 10,000 views. You mean, within, 48 hours. That's pretty much my standard for a standard video. Sometimes I hit 30,000 or 20 something thousand views, right? And then other times I hit 3,000, 4,000 views in 48 hours. Eventually those views do pick up, but it's kind of hit or miss. What are you looking at now?
So I'm just looking at like So you have twitchtracker.com, which is a website we can look at games and see how many people are watching like live streams
Twitch,
for a
though?
specific game. Well, yeah. This is how many people are watching the game on Twitch, not
Twitch,
players. Yeah.
Which I don't know if there's a big
so
cookie
definitely
run audience
back in January. There's not, but I mean, it still gives you the lines of even if it's not like a huge of people watching on there, it still gives you the lines of what's happening. So like, for example, I can see that January, February of 2021, it peaked. It shot way up. Then in March, it started coming back down. And then April 2021, May, and it came all the way until August 2021. Then in September, I don't know, you might know what happened September 2021.
That's the Sonic.
It jumped back up, and then October went even higher. And then November started dropping again, and it's dropped consistently ever since then, after the Sonic update. Again, that's just
into this year, or do you not see 2022?
That into this year. So, I mean, obviously April's still going, but I mean, it's down. January 2022, it jumped back up a little, but not anything significant. But outside of that month, it's been a downward trend. That's just on Twitch tracker, but because I don't know if they actually, YouTube tracker. I don't know if there is a YouTube tracker, to be honest. I was trying to just find like the active players, but it doesn't look like they actually release their active players or whatever.
Well, here's what I'll show you. So if you go to Tower,
I know they broke 10 million downloads, it says, but that's not active players.
Thing that you can use to gauge this, or at least what I've done even before. It's called Tower Sensor, is what it's called, is the company. But essentially, you can go to Tower Sensor's website, right? And you can type in a app, and what it'll do is it'll actually give you the analytics.
Okay.
Behind that. So I'll show you here. I'll pull it up really quick, and I'll send it to you. Or at least tell you what it is anyways.
Yeah, you can just probably read it off or whatever's easiest. Yeah, like I said, I mean, it does, like, from the graphs I am seeing, it does look like it is on a downward trend, which that doesn't mean that's not necessarily a bad. I mean, all games are going to have a peak and then a downward. I mean, all games are going to peak.
Right.
And I mean, if you look at any game, Phasmophobia came out. It was kind of under the radar. Boom, got popular, peaked, then started, and it's nowhere today. It's lower than it was at its peak. And it's been consistently getting lower, I'm sure, every single month since that big peak. That's normal.
Yeah. So,
but if a game has 100 million players and they're on a downward peak and they still have 80 million players, that's still a lot of fucking people. It doesn't mean the game's dying anytime soon. I mean, look at World of Warcraft. They're still around after. So it doesn't equate to that. Just
Yeah, and see, and that's the thing. Like, I don't know if this even tells me, unfortunately, because like I'm looking at this and it just tells me. So what it gives me is it gives me the downloads. So for the month, and then it also gives me the revenue that the app has made for that month. So like, for instance, Cookie Run Kingdom on Google Play, 300,000 downloads in March of 2022 worldwide. And then revenue is over $4 million in March of 2022. And then I can go back and I can look what it was X amount of time. You mean, in April or whatever, you know what I mean? And it's
less, more. I mean,
it's about consistent. So from April, it was 285,000 downloads. So it was less downloads, not in April, sorry, in February. And so it's just slightly less than that. The revenue is still roughly the same. I honestly think, based on my analytics, it's just staying, normal. It's just consistent. Okay. And then, like I said, you get a massive uptick around an update, then it drops back down. I mean, and then it just kind of, again, stays consistent, in a realm.
They still have that core base of players that
correct.
Are playing it throughout all,
exactly,
all the updates and all the, all that stuff.
Exactly.
Oh,
and again, and that's kind of where I'm at with the whole thing, with the game. It's kind of just maintaining that, and that's kind of where I'm at. The second play on this is I'm trying now with a video I just dropped earlier today or yesterday. I dropped a video for one of their games. They've got what they call Dev Now, launching on April 13th, which is basically their live premiere for other games that Dev Sisters are developing and going to be dropping and releasing. Like, they're going to drop release dates and stuff for those via this event.
Right. Okay.
So like, I just dropped a video called Dead Side Club, and it's basically just a 12-minute video of me covering up everything we know about that game right now before dev play happens. And again, I expected this to be lower. It's currently sitting at 1,800 views, which is way less, you know what I mean, than my other content. But again, this is a game that nobody in my audience, you know what I mean, has heard of or played, you know what I mean? And this is me, in my opinion, pre-tuning the algorithm, right, for when this game does launch. I mean, I've already got videos.
Dev Sisters changed the name Safe House to Dev.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just looking at your page right now. That's why.
Yeah. So again, in my
mind, this
is
a new game they're coming out with, and I do know that you've said that that's part of your strategy. Just not to interrupt you, but I'm just
you're good. You're
asking questions.
Yeah.
But part of your strategy, I know you said, was that Dev Sisters has announced that they're going to be coming out, not just with this new game, but like quite a couple new games. And so you think the future of the Codation's main channel would be going to a Dev Sisters games channel, or at least games similar to those style games.
Yes, because going back to the word strategy that going back to the strategy that you had just mentioned or talked about or hinted to, the reason for that is because I think that, in my opinion, that would be best suited or close suited to my audience. So you know as well as I know, any other content creator listening to this podcast, it's near impossible to migrate an audience. And it's very hard to do that. And because of that, especially in the mobile gaming space, I'm trying in my brain, I can think that one of the best ways to try to do that, to migrate an audience, or the best chance would be to try to migrate them into something that I know that they already like, or that they potentially would like. And again, not just trying to go left field. It's they play Dev Sisters games. They play the Cookie Run games. You know, my audience plays Cookie Run Oven Break. They have been playing Cookie Run Kingdom now. So my mind is thinking, okay, Dev Sisters are working on 2-3 different Cookie Run games. You mean that's going to be announced here on April 13th? Yep. My brain is, more than likely my audience are going to test out these games. You know what I mean? Yep, so like in my mind, it's first come, first serve, right? So I'm then playing the field of, I know how mobile gaming space works. You know what I mean? The first person on the scene, first person making content, you mean normally gets the first amount of the audience, right? And not saying that they can't find other content creators later, they can, whatever. And I'm not diving that deep. I'm basically just saying, I'm going to be here. I'm going to cover these games. I mean, or at least to start off with, I'm going to find out which ones my audience care about, which one they don't care about. And I'm just going to try pushing that content on top of Cookie Run Kingdom. And then whatever dies off, dies off. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what my strategy is with this. This video here, and in the next one, I'm going to go ahead and put this out here. I don't know how quickly this is going to be edited, and I don't think it's going to be, used against me, but I'm also going to be trying, or I'm going to do this leading up until April 13th. I'm going to go ahead and make another one, or make a video like this with one of the Cookie Run games that they're talking about. Again, in my brain, I'm preheating the algorithm by saying, I've already got a Dead Side Club video on YouTube. I'm the only one that's got a Dove Side Club video on YouTube. So the algorithm already knows Codation's Dead Side Club. I've already bridged that connection.
And plus your audience, I mean, it's pre-warming your audience a little bit.
Right. Exactly. Both. Yep, exactly. And the same thing goes for the next one, right? Like I know my audience right now because I've done a poll on my YouTube. Out of these 4 games that Dev Sisters have already mentioned in the past via these press releases, which one are you most interested on? The next video I'm making is the one they all voted for the most interested on, of like 5,000 votes. So I already know I'm going to get clicks on that one because they're already interested in it. Is there going to be a whole lot of information? Probably not. That's going to be the same as this, 10 minutes of everything we know. I'm going to read a couple of articles. I'm going to show a couple of screenshots, give my overall theory upon it. Boom, guess what's going to happen? I already have it pre-set up. The moment this goes live, this premiere goes live, I am 100% doing nothing but taking notes. Because why? I'm immediately going to batch record everything we know for each one of these video games. And I'm going to instantly make a follow-up video, hit YouTube immediately with a follow-up video. Boom. Dev Now event just dropped, 2022, breaking news. We just found out, X, Y, and Z about this game. We got some additional screenshots. Here's some additional gameplay. I'm super excited about it. You guys let me know your thoughts are down below in the comments, right? Like that's going to be how it is. And I'm just going to take, cut them all up, the exact same stuff. post them again because I'm trying to mentally think ahead of the game. I don't want my channel to die with Cookie Run Kingdom when Cookie Run Kingdom dies, right? Like I want to continue doing this. And in order to do that, you got to do some of this stuff, you know, and that's kind of what I'm working into. Not only that, I am super excited about this other one, this Dead Side. And the reason why I'm excited about this Dev Side or Dead Side Club, that's by Dev Sisters. One, it's their first game they've ever made outside of the Cookie Run title, like IP.
Okay.
And two, it's a hardcore blood and gore PvP like shooter, completely left field from their Cookie Run games. And the reason why I like that is because if I can hold on to the Dev Sisters part,
could have made it a PvP cookie.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
they are. That's one of the other games. They're making a PvP cookie game. This one's not on the App Store.
Yeah. Okay.
This is on Steam. Dead Side Club is their first Steam launch game. They're branching to other platforms.
Okay.
But again, I've got that connection with Dev Sisters, so I know it's not Cookie Run, and maybe my audience here directly don't really care for it. But you never know. What if this game comes out? And you know how Twitch is. This game comes out, they pay somebody, to play this game on stream, massive influx in players.
Mm-hmm.
Where do they go? They go right to YouTube, to look at something, or Twitch.
Yep.
Guess who's going to be streaming the game Tuesdays and Thursdays? You get what I'm saying? Like, so again, I'm trying to think these crazy plays, okay, how can I get this, tied back into me? You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know.
And so, yeah, no, that all makes sense. So you also mentioned though that you're starting to have your editor make content from other games like Tiny Tina's. You said he did a video on Tiny Tina's. So have you? I know we talked off stream a little bit the one day. Have you decided? Like, did you post those on your main channel?
No.
Or have you made a second channel, or are you just holding them for now, still trying to decide what to do? What are your thoughts on that whole thing? The whole
both. So I made
them on a separate channel. Or...
Both. So I made a second channel. Nobody knows about it. I haven't finished editing or setting everything up on it. I created some artwork on it. When I got some free time at work, and I kind of hit a roadblock. So what happened is I thought, you know what? Why not? Let's try it. Right. So like I was going to do it. Then talking to other content creators in mobile gaming who have multiple channels, who have tried multiple channels, who have shut down multiple channels. And the problem is they told me don't expect it to grow like a specific niche mobile game.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially if it's variety shit.
The problem is that was not what was in my brain. My brain was like hardcore, hands-off, secondary channel. Everybody's going to just tune into that channel because it's codations. And I was just going to hit 1,000 subscribers immediately and just start, making secondary revenue on that channel. And by hands-off, meaning like it was going to be nothing but these funny memed collaborations from live stream Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah.
I'm being told that that's not how it's going to go down. I'm being told that nobody's really nobody, not that nobody, but you know what I mean?
Not as much of your audience as
correct. And it's not going to be something that might be, it's not going to be an overnight success, right? It's going to be something that, sure, you're going to have those hardcore people that support Codations that would go over there and tune in and watch it. But if a person doesn't play Tiny Tina's, they're probably not going to be interested in watching, your condensed version of that. Or if they're not interested in this, in my mind, I thought, again, I never thought it out, right? In my mind, I was thinking that it could just be a hands-off, easy way to make revenue on these extra streams. You mean, that I have a place to put them and just call it a day, but I would make revenue like Cookie Run Kingdom channel.
Mm-hmm.
And they were kind of like, they were like, they weren't saying I couldn't do it. They were just saying like, you have to have the expectation that if you were going to pick us. So let me just paint their picture. Their picture is they made several channels. They've tried doing these sort of dump channels is what they call them, right? Where you dump random stuff.
Yeah. And just to set this up a little bit for you. Honestly, like just to kind of also put it in black and white, I think it's the difference of your stuff and my stuff. I'm literally building where it takes that longer you're going to take because you're playing multiple different games. You're not focused on one game. Cookie Run Kingdom focused on one game. It took off, done well or whatever. And so I do think like you doing that would literally be, you would then experience more of what I experience in terms of growth, where it'd be more slow, more methodical. Right. I do still think you'd get a influx of some of your group that watches. Maybe they watch for Cookie Run Kingdom, but now they like, maybe, because I know, like, I guarantee you there's probably today, and I don't know what the number is, maybe it's only 10 people, I don't fucking know, but I guarantee you there's at least some people today that no longer play Cookie Run Kingdom and still watch your YouTube videos.
They do. They come in my live streams all the time. Live streams.
Yeah, because they just like you. They grew a relationship with you.
Oh yeah.
And so those type of people will go over to that channel, and it would give you a boost, but I don't know how significant that boost would be in the YouTube algorithm in terms of, will that just automatically get you more views on the videos? I don't know. Probably not, because, as I've said over and over to you, and still is my understanding, is every YouTube video is ranked on its own.
Right.
Even if those people come over and watch it, if the viewer retention's not there, if the click-through rates aren't there, the video is not going to perform well. But anyway, so now go ahead and continue.
Yeah. So essentially, again, a couple of these people, they've tried it. I mean, with the channel dump, again, it, like you said, it grows. It just takes a lot longer to grow. It's not like the same as if you niche down into a specific game, right? You're making content for that game. And that's kind of where I was like, okay, well, what have these guys done? So I got a guy right now, he's got 2 channels. He's got his main channel, right, which he plays the game, makes daily content or as much content as he possibly can for it. And he's got a secondary channel that he's resorted to, but he runs a completely separate game on that second channel. And that game will change, but he plays what my YouTube channel used to be. So like, my YouTube channel was not always Cookie Run Kingdom, right? Like, I mean, he basically plays a game, rides the hype train. And then as soon as the hype starts to fade off, he finds another game in that same niche, the gotcha hero collector games. His audience are still there, to play it, and then he goes into doing that and creates content for a couple of months and does the exact same cycle. And the reason why he does that is because he found more success in faster growth and faster revenue by sticking to one game. I mean, for so many months, or, whatever, until basically the game starts to die off, and then, passing off and doing that, versus him just doing a channel dump where he was just dumping anything and everything that he wanted to do on there, and it was just taking forever to grow, and revenue wasn't, growing as fast and all that other stuff. Same thing applied with another guy, but that guy has 4 or 5 YouTube channels and still has a variety dump channel. It's still, growing. It's just not, again, it's not what my brain was expecting. My thought process when I thought of a separate or second YouTube channel was just a second way that I could make revenue on these live streams, that I'm doing on Twitch, playing these games that have nothing to do with my audience on my channel for Cookie Run. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And again, and here's the thing, I'm not debunking your system at all about each video's ranked separately, because nobody's ever told me that that's wrong, right? Nobody's argued that statement. From my point of view, I have tried in the past numerous times posting off content videos on my YouTube channel. They do terrible. I've never had one pop off, ever. Again, you could blame that on thumbnail. You could blame that on audience retention. You could blame that on audience for the game. You could blame it on whatever. I just have never had it work. So like, I've tried 4 or 5 different games the entire time that I've done Cookie Run Kingdom content, and they just always perform terrible. And not terrible as in like 20 views. It'll be 1,800 views or 1,500 views, or 848 hours, but that's terrible compared to all of my Cookie Run Kingdom videos. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? And so again, I don't really know why that is. I don't know if that means, does that mean that videos aren't ranked that way? Does that mean that my audience doesn't care about these other videos? So therefore the only people I am getting to click on them is that core audience, that care. But if that's the case, it shouldn't matter, because then if each video is ranked separately, then YouTube should be picking that video up, and they're not. So I don't know.
Well, do you know that have you looked at the analytics? I mean, are the 1,800 views coming from subscribers to your channel?
How do I know that? You mean the percentage of the views?
It tells you if they were your subscribers. It tells you how many of your subscribers got the notification bell. It tells you how many of those subscribers.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Okay, yeah.
So I'm curious, if were those videos actually shown to a bunch of your subscribers, or were they shown to maybe 15, 20? They didn't get good click-through rates and stuff. So then it was pushed out to the YouTube algorithm. Still didn't get good click-through rates and stuff, or got, they got a little bit of the click-through rate, so they wouldn't get any views, but I'm curious to wonder how much of those are actually views that YouTube gave you from your subs versus just trying to push it out to the YouTube system. Do you know what I mean? Because I think that would answer the question. No? At least for me, I would think it would answer the question.
Yeah, I'm looking at this one right now. So this one right now that I just dropped,
Which video is this, by the way?
The Dead Side Club one. I just looked on the first one that was there. That was off key.
Yeah,
but I
think you'd have to have one that was really off key, but yeah.
But even though, I mean, my analytics are still way low. So it says, how viewers found this video. So traffic source, YouTube recommendations, YouTube home, up next, and then subscription feed. My subscription feed is only 23.6%.
Okay, so that means so
more than
75% of your views came from the recommendations and the YouTube homepage.
Yeah.
So if it was getting good click-through rates and average view duration or whatever, watch time, they would have continued to perform on the YouTube recommendation and the YouTube homepage. So to me, let's say that 25% subs did horrible. If the click-through rate and the watch time did well, YouTube would keep recommending that video, just not to your subs, to the YouTube pages,
which is correct. Yep.
So to me, that says that YouTube ranks the videos individually, because it doesn't matter what the subs numbers would have been if those numbers would have been good. At least that's my theory. That's my understanding.
And you're right.
I'm not saying that's 100% truth.
Right. And you could be 100%
that's my
correct.
Understanding.
You could be 100% correct. And again, though, I guess this video is a terrible decision because there is no content on this game. This game doesn't exist. It is hard because this is the very first video. Sisters,
so like you are going to get some, like if you posted a Tiny Tina, for example, like a Tiny Tina one would be a good one, like to check. I would be curious because I don't know that you're going to get a ton of your subscribers.
What about the new desk? What about the new desk video?
Let's check that and see. That'd be interesting just to see the data. Again, it's not a game, so it's not the exact comparison we're looking for, but those type of videos I think can do well on any type of channel with subscribers, because people want to know the behind the scenes of their content creators.
Yeah.
So it's still not quite the same as a different game to me, like completely, but I would, look it up. I would be intrigued to at least see the data and see what it's saying. I mean, and again, truth be told, I say this when we're talking and I say it as fact. I don't think I say it as fact. I say it as this is what I believe from my own research and stuff. Like, I don't think I've ever said like, no, this is 100% true. Maybe I have, I don't know. But I think I more say this is the way I understand it. This is the way I believe it to be, but I don't know 100%. Like, I'll be the first to admit that I don't know 100% that you don't get some kind of extra boost by already having some audience that is getting shown a video or something that's related to you or
so
not.
This one, for whatever reason, I don't know why I didn't break it down the same, but this one, it at least tells me the percentage unsubscribed and unsubscribed. So 72% of it was subscribers of watch time, and then 27.9% was non-subs.
Yeah. So that one more tells me they sent it to more of your subs. It didn't do well with your subs, so they didn't end up blasting it out to the YouTube website. So I would argue,
right, but your subs shouldn't matter.
Well, I was gonna say, I would argue that one would maybe more show that you're like what you're saying, that your audience matters or whatever, and they don't, but I just don't know if that still signals that, or if it's just YouTube sometimes decides to show it to your audience first or to the YouTube recommendation first. And if it does well on the one, it'll start doing well on the other. Or if it doesn't, like, I don't know that answer. Again, I would be intrigued to see the data on have you ever done a separate game on your channel or no?
I have.
In the last couple months or
no. I've got this. It's been,
I was looking
a hot minute. It's been a long time.
You want to have like your freshest subs and stuff too when you're looking at that data, because how many subs you have that don't even watch your videos anymore. Like,
I guess my question is like, I should just post a video, a random video.
That's what I think. Because, but again, my belief is that you should keep everything on one channel. We had that discussion. I know there's a lot of even larger content creators that disagree with me and think you should make separate channels. And again, I guess I don't know 100%, but anytime I stop and analytically think about it, just doesn't and I think about all the factors, none of it makes sense to me that having a separate channel would benefit you any more than just posting the content on the same channel you already have, outside of keeping your main channel as being like, I'm branded, like everybody knows Cody as Cookie Run Kingdom Cody. Okay. But even if you create a second channel, there's going to be lots of people that are going to know you as Cookie Run Kingdom Cody, and he also plays all these other games on a secondary channel. Whereas if you post them on your main channel, you're still going to have people that are going to know your brand as, oh, I only watch his Cookie Run Kingdom content, so he's only Cody from Cookie Run Kingdom for me. And then you're going to have those people that watch all your content that are always Cody that plays lots of different games. I don't know how that changes the perception, whether you have one channel or two channels, like in the long term, I guess.
And
maybe
I think
in the short term.
Well, it's not that I disagree with you. It's just I don't think anybody's ever gave me an answer. I think the reason why you struggle with it is because nobody has an answer for you on the does it hurt you or not hurt you based on what you post on your channel. Does that make sense? Like nobody's ever been able to give you like to come out and just like, tell you, or you read somewhere that says, no, YouTube does everything. I mean, based it off everything on that one specific video, no matter what your audience is, no matter what your YouTube has ever done, your channel's ever been about, it doesn't matter. Meaning like a person can make tutorial videos forever, and then all of a sudden they can just randomly drop a gaming video on their channel, and if YouTube decides that it or shows it to X amount of people and it works, it's going to push that gaming channel out just like their other content. Yes. Nobody's been able to give you that answer. Mm-hmm. So I think it's hard for you and again, myself and other people, I think it's hard to just, you know what I mean? Like accept or, or make a decision on that, right? Because you don't know the answer. We haven't gotten the answer. So I think it's hard for you to justify to be like, well, why wouldn't you do that? Because it's always going to come back to that. Like I could give you 5 reasons about something and you would be like, well, none of those matter because at the end of the day, it's going to push that video separately. You know what I'm saying? Like, you mean like that's always that comes back to answer. Does it make sense?
Yeah, but I'm not arguing. I mean, my argument isn't just that it's always going to come down to the individual video. My argument would be give me a good solid reason, even outside of that it would hurt you. And I haven't gotten that from anybody.
So here's the answer. So here's
saying a Brandon issue.
So here's the answer that I got.
Necessarily see.
So here's the answer that I got. So my question was, speaking on your statement about the second channel, I always hear people saying start a second channel, and even people have done it, but I have never heard the why to do it. What's wrong with me posting random gaming videos on my main channel via a second one? Their answer was, it confuses the algorithm and audience on YouTube on that having 2 monetized channels is better than 1. They don't always even pay the same, as the CPM can actually change according to the channel. And it also lets you potentially reach a new audience the main channel doesn't or can't reach. My podcast channel also lets me gain an additional set of sponsors and even different sponsors. That's something else people don't always consider with starting a second channel. It's better to own a slice of another market and have those extra opportunities. It always can help you in other ways. That's why you see more larger content creators doing it and also getting equity in new creators too. The answer is good. The answer does not fit and cater to me specifically because they're talking in different markets. Meaning if I have a main channel, but I also start a podcast, that's different. I mean, that's a different market I'm tapping into. Now I can get sponsors that want to sponsor me for being, a podcast, and vice versa. That's slightly different. However, though, I don't know the analytics.
True.
Everybody that I have spoken to that has multiple channels, and by everybody meaning like 4 or 5 people that have been doing YouTube for X amount of time, they all told me that anytime they posted off content for whatever that game was on their channel, it never performed well. Ever. So they just took it upon themselves to start a second channel, and it always way more significantly increased their attraction. Meaning they were covering one game. I'm going to use Raid Shadow Legends for an instance. They were covering Raid Shadow Legends on their main channel. All of a sudden, Awaken Chaos Era comes out. Basically a Raid Shadow Legends style game, right? They make a couple videos on Awaken Chaos Era. They tank. They don't do anything worth of views. They continue trying it. It continues tanking, not getting any views. So what do? They spin up a second channel with nothing. So no subs, no nothing. Start posting Awaken Era content. Boom. Mm-hmm. More views, more subs, more attraction. Then that second channel starts growing. And basically becoming an Awaken Chaos Era channel. Do you get what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah.
And that's why they're saying that. That's the answer that I'm getting. Again, they don't know the answer.
Right. And I guess where I struggle with that answer is, okay, so let's take out the whole YouTube ranks on different things. Okay. So number one, I know plenty of channels that do like creators, like for example, Lex Friedman. He has a huge podcast. I don't know if you ever heard of Lex Friedman.
No, but okay.
He's a friend of Joe Rogan, who also has a huge podcast. He has his own huge podcast. He's an MIT graduate. He's big, does a lot of like sciencey and technology interviews and stuff with people like kind of Joe Rogan. I mean, on his channel, he has this podcast listed, and then he also has just random video. He has one of him playing chess against a guy. He has one of him visiting the Tesla Gigafactory in Texas. He has one of him doing a push-up challenge against another guy named David Goggins.
Yeah, but there's one.
So my point is, let's say you're an advertiser. You own a product. So like, I'm just going to use a product that I know advertises on Joe Rogan's podcast, for example, Athletic Greens. So Athletic Greens is a supplement that you put in, it's basically a vitamin. You put it in your drink, and it gives you the nutrients you're missing in your diet. They advertise on Joe Rogan's podcast. So if Joe Rogan has a YouTube channel and he throws up videos of his jujitsu training, and he throws up videos of his comedy shows, and he throws up all of his podcasts, what makes it difficult for that company to go to Joe Rogan and say, hey, we want to advertise on your podcast?
What do you mean what makes him difficult?
Well, I'm saying that's one of the reasons that you were given in that message. I don't want to say the name of the person.
Yeah.
But like, it gives, like, if people want to like monetize your podcast, I have a separate channel for my podcast. What stops any company from advertising on Joe Rogan's podcast that way? He would only include their advertisements in his podcast videos.
Yeah, but I'm missing what you're like. I don't get what
my point is. That's one of his reasons why you should have a second channel, the guy that you're talking about.
Yeah, he was just saying that it can open up additional sponsorships.
If you have a podcast that gets viewers, you're gonna get sponsorships on that podcast.
Yeah,
whether it's on a separate channel or not, I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. But he's saying, I get you're saying that if you have one channel that has podcast videos and has other videos on it too.
Yes, you're gonna get advertisers on your podcast.
Yeah. No, I get that. Again, I'm not arguing that person's point. But I guess what I'm trying to say, or my only argument to you would be, those are celebrities, and I'm saying, like, I think once you hit a certain status, it doesn't matter what you upload. I think Dr. Lupo could right now 100% on any platform. I guarantee you, he could freaking upload him making tacos that has nothing to do with any content he's ever put on there, and it would instantly gain a shit ton of views.
Sure, that's from
but I don't think right. But I'm saying, I think what they're trying to say, that works for a person of that stature or that status. Meaning, like, I think once I get that big, that would make sense. There would be no reason, in my opinion, to start a completely separate thing, because anybody's going to watch it. It doesn't matter what it is. Like whatever I put on there, people are going to watch it because I'm that big. I don't know if I think their argument would be at that. I don't know.
That doesn't even make sense mathematically, because mathematically it would be no different with Lupo versus you, where you're at with your audience. So Dr. Lupo has 5 million people. I'm just making up numbers. 5 million people. Out of those 5 million people, 20% are going to watch him make tacos. And that's going to be a huge number because he has a fucking 5 million people.
You think it's that low?
I don't know the number. I'm making up numbers. My point still stays the same.
Right.
That you have 50,000 subs, 20% of them are going to watch you make tacos. That number, of course, is going to be lower, but the percentage is going to be no different. He's just a larger creator. So yes, he's going to have more people watch a random video of him making tacos because he's a larger creator. But it doesn't change the fact of that has nothing to do with whether you have a separate, like, if you go out and make a separet channel where you're eating tacos.
Okay. Then my question
would be, you're not going to do better than
right. But then my question would be, is then why has nobody seen that trajectory? Why does everybody seem to think that they've tried it and it fails?
I think most newer creators do not make separate YouTube channels. You see them putting everything on like Lex Friedman. He has all his videos on one YouTube channel. Like Joe Rogan puts all his stuff on one YouTube channel. The people that still say that are people that have been in the YouTube space for a long time, like the person you're mentioning. Which people that have been in the YouTube space for a while, they have learned the YouTube algorithm. They have learned how YouTube works. at the time that it did work that way.
Right. But
videos were based off of accounts.
Right.
Based off of,
I'm with you. But get off of that person. I'm saying, like, for instance, mobile gaming. Why do I see that heavy in mobile gaming right now? There's like, I'm trying to think of the person's freaking name now, but like the guy has like 7 channels and he makes a new channel every time a brand new game comes out that he's going to cover full time to basically pump that hype wave. He starts with a fresh new channel instead of his main channel and just literally starts, like, I'm talking about 10 videos, 15 videos a week, just pumping out videos, riding that hype train for that new game. It might cap out at 6,000-7,000 subs and he's rocking, 10, 15,000 views, getting all that stuff. That game dies, another game pops out, boom, starts up a brand new another channel, pushes it and does the same thing. The guy's got like 9 things. But why do we see that more often now if that doesn't matter?
This. So you say more often. So how many YouTube creators do you know that have separate channels for everything?
When you say for everything, what do you mean? Because again, I only know people that have like 2 channels or 3 channels, and they're not different content. It's like a different game instead of them covering 2 games on one channel.
Of all the people,
I don't know anybody that has a podcast channel and then a game channel and then a vlog channel. I don't know anybody that way. I only know people that have different multiple mobile games. You mean or multiple gaming channels? You know what I mean?
Okay, and out of all the mobile people that how many of them would you say have that versus how many have one channel?
I don't know very many of them that have one channel that cover multiple games.
Okay, and out of the people that have multiple channels, how many of those multiple whether it's just 2 channels or 3 channels or whatever, how many of those people that have those channels have more than one that is successful, that is making a decent income? All of them?
How many of them?
All of them that have a second channel, or all doing their second channel is doing just as well as the first?
The two that come to my mind right now, yeah, their second channel makes really good money, and both of them, their CPM are higher on their second channel than their main channel. But again, there's a lot of factors, because one of them, the CPM is higher for that game. So they're getting like their CPM is like $15 for that second channel, but their main channel CPM is like $6.
Yeah, but that's just but see, that doesn't make sense because that's the average of their channel. So for example, here's someone that posts all kinds of different videos.
Yeah, I'm with you.
If I post a review video, the CPM on that review video is going to be like $15 to $20 CPM on that video.
Yeah.
On my channel, on my gaming videos, my CPM is going to be $3 to $5 on a gaming video.
Right.
My channel CPM is going to be $10 because it's the average of all those. But I'm saying it doesn't matter if they're on a separate channel or not. I'm going to get the CPM based off of what that video is for. I do. Crazy. Like, I can say that I do. I can show you the reviews get higher CPMs than my gaming videos.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And I understand that.
Again, but my point is, that doesn't explain the fact that, well, make a second channel because you're going to get better CPM.
Again, I guess then I'll have your answer for you then. Again, we're back to the same principle. I mean, you think that you should just post it all on one channel, and that's fine. I don't know the answer. I have no clue. I just know that anytime I post a video that's not Cookie Run Kingdom, it goes straight through the shitter, and I don't get any reviews on it. Nothing.
Right.
Because my audience doesn't care. I know that when I go live stream on Roblox, I cap out at 100 viewers and 100 live stream people. That's it. Nobody else gives a shit about anything else that I'm playing. All those Cookie Run fans that I get 10,000, 15,000, 30,000 views on, they don't care. You're telling me YouTube just didn't push out the video because of my thumbnail and my click-through rate?
No, not just because of those, but yes, because of those.
Right, but that's what I'm
Here's
trying
why.
to get.
Wait. Okay, yeah, and I'll explain why. I can explain why. I can actually explain why.
Yeah, I'm listening.
So Cookie Run Kingdom, there is not as many content creators making Cookie Run Kingdom content. So if you have a CTR of 10% and you have a watch time of 60%, your video is going to do really well in Cookie Run Kingdom. Now you put out a video on Tiny Tina's. Tiny Tina right now has hundreds and thousands of content creators on the game. So you put it out, you get the views from your 10% of the audience that's your core audience that's going to watch it. YouTube starts to push it out in their main algorithm. Now it's working just like if you do what your content creator friends are saying, make a separate channel, you post a Tiny Tina's, it's barely going to get any views. Why? Because you're competing against the same. You're not competing with Cookie Run Kingdom people. You're competing with Tiny Tina creators now. It's a whole different thing. So I'm saying, but that doesn't matter. Again, that doesn't matter whether it's on the same channel as your Cookie Run Kingdom content or a separate channel. They're not going to get as much views.
So the only time, I guess my question, okay, I'm with you. I'm with you. I understand that. That makes perfect sense. My only question then would be, would that not be where your subs come into play? Meaning, Dr. Lupo, we'll take him for example.
Sure.
Okay. He posted a video. Whatever the hell the percentage is in the algorithm, I don't know what that number is, because it doesn't notify all of your subs, right? So like whatever number of people get notified, if that initial amount of people tune in and click on that video to watch that video, would that not impact the push on that video compared to if nobody clicked on that video from his subs? Because why would YouTube push it is what I'm saying. Why wouldn't YouTube use that as an analytic measure to then decide? Because if it's good enough for his subs and they're clicking on it, then we need to show this to other people, versus if his subs aren't even clicking on it, then why are we trying to show this to other people?
Sure, because the algorithm knows. And what I mean by that is if they're putting it out to your subs and it's not getting views, as you saw in that one video that was a different Dev Sisters game, it got pushed out more to the normal YouTube system. It just didn't perform good enough to keep getting pushed out to the YouTube system. Like you saw that it got pushed out to that instead of your subs, whereas the desk one got pushed out to your subs. Like, so the answer is, if they push it out to your subs and it's doing, they push it out to both. They're going to push it out to your subs. They're going to push it out to the YouTube recommendation.
Whichever one starts doing better.
They're going to keep pushing it that way. If your subs are clicking on it because it's a Cookie Run Kingdom video, that's who your subs are. That's the content they like. They're going to push it out to more subs. Right. More of those subs click on it. They're going to push it out to more of your subs. And until eventually they push it out to all your subs and all of your subs, if it continues to do well.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. If it starts to die off. If it doesn't, it's going to die with your subs. And you're going to see, like on that video where 25% of your subs saw it, and that was it. And it was doing well in the YouTube recommendations. So it got pushed there until it dies. Right.
Which where that happens, I mean, that's a whole different. Why did it die where it died? Why did I have no fucking clue on any of that?
No. And I'm with you. That makes sense. But that makes sense.
It'll push it out to your subs. And if it does well in your subs, it'll keep pushing out to your subs. But what I'm saying is, they're ranked separately. If it does horrible on your subs, that has no impact on the YouTube recommendations. If it does horrible on the YouTube recommendations, it has no impact on your YouTube subs.
Right.
They're two separate numbers. They're two tracked data points, because the algorithm, like YouTube, they want videos to be seen that viewers want to watch. And so they're smart enough to know that there are people out there, lots of creators, that do just post all their content on one channel, and they want a video, if it's good and people are going to watch it, to be shown. So they're smart enough to know that if it doesn't match with their subs, that doesn't mean it's a shitty video. It might just not match with their subs of that channel. And that's why they've moved away from the whole sub priority. It used to be that if it did bad with your subs, it did bad everywhere. Like it only went out to your subs first, and it never even got to the YouTube recommendations and stuff if it did horrible in your subs.
Yeah.
But again, I get last video that's no longer the case. I
get where that would also not be good, because you have channels that flip niches that start making content for something else, and naturally your subs might not care about that anymore, or whatever, or they're trying to generate a new audience, or you got a person that again leaves and comes back. They've got a bunch of subs. The subs would be holding them back from, like you said, them showing a good video and they're getting hindered by their subs, which I completely understand that. And not only that, speaking on your whole, theory, you're not theory, but the whole,
I mean, it is a theory. It is.
Right.
Again,
I
do want to stress, I don't know this stuff for 100%. I'm just saying, when I stop and analytically think about it, and I look at the data points and actually look at what the data says, the data tells me that the videos are ranked separately, is all I'm saying. That's
and I get what you're saying,
but I could be dead wrong. I could be missing something.
Yeah, and I get that, and that's what I'm saying. But when you make that comparison, it makes sense, because YouTube would, if, like you said, if the subs are hardcore pushing on it and watching the video and doing like that, but it's not really doing so well in the recommended algorithm, then YouTube would continue pushing it to your subs and more subs, because the trajectory from YouTube is what? To keep people to continue watching on their platform. That's their number one goal. So why would they continue to show it somewhere where it's not working? So they're going to continue pushing where it is working. So that makes sense, logical sense of why some videos do, 75% of subs, views came from that, and 25% came from recommendation, 75%, 25% for subs, because again, it's going to just push it wherever that's getting more.
Sure.
And that makes sense and the reason why I say makes sense is because if I make a video that isn't necessarily on Cookie Run Kingdom, but I make a video for my audience and I know they're going to click. Let me give you an example. I dropped a video one time where I was going on vacation, had nothing to do with Cookie Run Kingdom, but I left the title, I'm quitting. And that was it. Black screen. It did very well with my subscribers. But again, I guarantee you it did poorly with YouTube recommendation because because again, it was a video that I was speaking directly to my channel, my subs, and because it was catered that way, it was instantly clicked on for everybody that was on my subscribe to my list. YouTube probably went ahead and pushed it all the way to do that. That makes sense. Same thing goes, I guess, for making a video or a game, not part of my channel. If it's not getting a whole lot in subscribers, tuning into it because they might not care about the game or whatever, for whatever reason, YouTube then, like you said, is still going to be trying to get something from the recommendation or push, and that makes sense. Dead side comparison is a bad example though, because again, the game doesn't exist. There is no content out there for it. So there's not people hitting YouTube looking for it because it doesn't exist. Their Twitter account that they created for the game is 50 people. You get what I'm saying? So nobody, and those are all probably workers for the company. They probably don't, you know what I mean?
Right. And so let me say this to add on to that. Here's where then I say, so you, like, the question is, should you post on your main channel? Should you post on a separate? The age old question. And so here's then my thought, if you're thinking of it that way. So let's say tomorrow, Cody has 2 Tiny Tina videos. You turn a live stream into 2 videos. They're not the same video because then you can't do that because YouTube would realize that the same video. But you have 2 separate videos. And again, because the problem is, so you post that video on your Cookie Run Kingdom, most people then are going to see the data coming in. They're going to say, ooh, that's not being pushed out to my subs. And it's not being pushed out to recommendation because I'm now competing with Tiny Tina content and not Cookie Run Kingdom content. So the data looks bad over here because while I might be able to get content or views over here in Cookie Run Kingdom, it's a lot harder to get views over here in Tiny Tina. So then they see it as, oh, it's a total flop. But here's where I would say the true test would be. You create 2 pieces, and I don't have the numbers to do this, but I'm saying if I was you, this is what I would do to test it.
Yep.
I would make those 2 pieces of content. I would have that fresh channel all set up, ready to go. And I would post one of the Tiny Tina videos over there. I would post one of the Tiny Tina videos on my Cookie Run Kingdom channel. Here's what I would expect to see on your main channel, that maybe it gets 500 to 1,000 views, lower than your Cookie Run Kingdom. On the new channel, 50 views. So then the question is, okay, you still at least captured some of your subs were interested in other games. They were interested in seeing other games, or they're interested in just supporting Cody. So wouldn't it make sense to at least capture those 500 to 1,000 views on the video versus 50 views on the video on a separate channel? Because I guarantee you post that video, and maybe I'm wrong. I'm saying I guarantee you, but again, this is all my speculation. But I guarantee you, if you post that video on a brand new channel, that Tiny Tina video is probably not going to get that many views because you're competing with all the Tiny Tina content out there. And unless you have crazy CTR and crazy watch time on that video when it starts to get pushed out, which in that niche, you're probably not going to right off the bat.
Right.
So the video is going to perform better on the Cookie Run Kingdom channel, even though it performs horribly, it's going to perform better than on a second channel. So what is the purpose of the second channel? Again, I get that, like, it's confusing for the audience. Now, again, I have separate channels. There's a separate channel for the podcast. I agree.
But you have a different
market.
Correct.
To make a separate channel.
Yep.
On large niches to have a separate channel. Niching down is the correct answer, but also not niching down is the correct answer at some point.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you. 100%. I think there's one metric that really comes into play with the second channel that these guys use to their advantage, but it doesn't take away from our test, and I can still test it. They did not start a second channel on a game that was already super competitive. For instance, I know it doesn't make a huge difference, but it does make a difference in the sense of, and I'm also still in that position to do this and to test it. Their argument is they tested it when a new mobile game dropped, they started making content day one that it dropped, riding that, massive hype train and influx of players, which then allowed them to get that trajectory. However, your argument would still pertain. What would have happened if they would have taken that and posted it on their main channel and rode that same trajectory or the same influx of players, which makes sense. I'm in a position right now where Dev Sisters are going to be coming out with new games in the next X amount of months. I could just do exactly that. On my secondary channel, right? And on my main channel, I could just post, videos for both channels and just read the data and just see, does that 0 subscriber channel over here, that has nothing going for it, does it make a difference? Do I see a crazy influx of players here versus not on my main channel? Besides, the 1,000 views or whatever that I get from that, because my main channel, my main people don't care about it, whatever. Like, does it work or does it not work?
And that's where I've always struggled with this question, is because I've heard all of these gurus say this over and over, but I've never seen any of them show that data. I've never seen any of them come out with that data that shows that they tested it, because I don't think it's a hard test to do. Like, no, it's not. I don't think it's a hard test to do, but I've never seen that data out there on the internet. I think it's one of those things. I'm convinced, again, I could be dead wrong, but I'm convinced it's one of those things like the old, like where it was just so many people started believing it that it just became accepted as like normal truth. And so it just became like, this is the truth about it, but it was never actually proven. There was never actually a study done on it. Like, how now we hear about studies that come out and they're like, well, actually, we always heard about this thing. We did a study on it and it looks like that wasn't true. Right. I feel like that's one of these things. Like, if somebody actually took the time and put in the hard work, because it takes work to run these numbers and stuff and to do these tests. But I think if someone did that, I think it would back me up.
and not only that, I mean, to add to that, I mean, I think that if somebody did that, I think that information would be out there to the masses then.
Well, yeah, because I think
we're not seeing that. We're not seeing that data to the masses.
And even if the data's not out there, the gurus would be saying, I've seen the data. Such and such person did it and I saw the data. They might not have published the data publicly, but it would be like, if you did it, I would start telling everybody that asked me, like, oh yeah, no, I've seen the data. My friend Cody ran it, but you never hear like, this person ran the test. Like, there's no data to back up any of what's being said at all. In their defense, there's no data backing up what I'm saying.
I know, but there kind of is because just based on that one video that we just looked at, I mean, that is data. I mean, that shows that one got more push and recommended versus my subs. The other one got pushed more in my subs versus my recommendation. Again, I know there's side theories to that, but at the same time, you kind of got something, going on. I think a true test is going to be what we need to do. And I think I'm in a position right now where I could do a true test. If a game comes out mid-year, for instance, this Dead Side Club, if they'd announce that they're going to release it mid-year, I could just test it. I can make a video or two about it, on the other channel, make a video or two about it on my main channel, drop them both and see what happens.
And even up until that point, I know you said with a new game, and yeah, you can test that but even still with the competitive stuff, you can still at least test and see what it does on both channels.
Yeah, the only downside is like you said though, you are in a different you are in a different field with doing that. Sure.
But I still think it would show what channel is going to perform better for a different game than what your subscribers are there for. The deciding question of where should I post is where is it going to perform best?
Yeah, but what you're saying, true, which you're right, but at the same time, but from your theory, it should perform the same.
No.
If I post a Tiny Tina video on both platforms, they should perform the same.
No. Because on the new channel, you don't have the push to subs. On the old channel, you still have the push to subs. I'm just arguing that you don't get the additional views in the recommendation off of subs. But my argument is, if you post to a new channel, you're going to get very few views because you're probably not going to get recommended very well. At least on the Cookie Run Kingdom, you're at least going to have a percentage of your audience that will watch other content. Like me, I watch your Cookie Run Kingdom videos. I don't watch every single one, but even today, I quit playing Cookie Run Kingdom. I still occasionally watch one of your Cookie Run.
But
Kingdom
I get what
videos.
you're saying. So I get what you're saying. You're saying, okay, so I get what you're saying. So yeah, I mean that makes sense. And you're saying in that realm, why would I post on a secondary channel then if I'm still going to be able to get that natural organic traffic from my main channel that will watch other stuff?
Yeah.
Like why would I not? Why? Yeah, I get. Yeah. I mean,
that is then going to make you some revenue, which is going to let you do other stuff. I mean,
right, but doesn't
that's make more Cookie Run Kingdom content.
Right, but doesn't the term in that answer that I got earlier from a other person, doesn't that term when they say confuse the algorithm, doesn't that imply that the algorithm, you know what I mean, like my Cookie Run Kingdom content on my main channel somehow hinders it?
And if you notice, that's the only thing that I really haven't combated too hard, because I don't know if the algorithm categorizes your channel. I know they rank videos individually. I don't know if they categorize your channel, like how much they categorize it down to. I don't know if they eventually say this is a Cookie Run Kingdom channel. But again, if I just think about it logically, it doesn't make, like, let's say you're YouTube, okay? You make an algorithm. You have a video platform. You want videos to be seen. So let's say I'm uploading Cookie Run Kingdom videos, and you classify my channel as a Cookie Run Kingdom channel. And now let's say that I post a video on, we're going to just use the example using Tiny Tina. So your algorithm says, that's not Cookie Run Kingdom, so I should just not show that video, when your whole job as the platform is to just show the best videos. So to me, even if it's totally something off the wall, and my job at the end of the day is to show good videos, I would still at least want to test and see how that video would perform. Would I not? Wouldn't that seem to be the logical choice? So even if they categorize the channel, I don't understand why they would just all of a sudden then throw up their hands and say, sorry, this is not Cookie Run Kingdom, Cody, so fuck you. Like it just doesn't.
And you're right. Yeah, 100%. I mean, and again, that makes sense. I don't know why they would do that. The only thing I could think of would be maybe that's where the play comes in with other analytics, meaning like, back to the whole sub versus recommendation, back forth. Maybe there is some sort of metric or something, right? That you put it in there, right? It categorizes my channel as Cookie Run Kingdom. It's like, this isn't Cookie Run Kingdom content, right? So then maybe what does it do? Maybe it does then decide, okay, well, it's not Cookie Run Kingdom, so their subs probably don't care about it. So then instead of pushing it in subs, they push it more towards recommendation. If it doesn't really do so well there, because maybe, like you said, the market's saturated or flooded or whatever, so then it just shuts down the video. Maybe, I don't know. I have no clue.
Let me explain it a little deeper. Here's where I think the problem lies in. I think people are thinking, I don't think people realize how much the algorithm has improved, like how much it improves month to month. I don't think people realize that. So let's say you're YouTube again. You're the algorithm. Put yourself in that shoe. You made the algorithm. You have a Cookie Run Kingdom channel, or I have a Cookie Run Kingdom channel. You're the algorithm. So you tell me what you would do as the algorithm. I have a Cookie Run Kingdom channel. I post a video. The AI today, I know this for a fact, is smart enough to know that is Cookie Run Kingdom content, that video, without any of your keywords. That's why, like, they say keywords and stuff. That's why they hide them nowadays. They don't even need it. I'm
gonna tell you, yeah, and that's 100%
video's
true.
Cookie Run Kingdom video.
Yeah.
So not only is it just that I post Tiny Tina and it's like, oh, that's not Cookie Run Kingdom. It's not that the algorithm then just randomly blasts it out to who knows who, and they know it's Tiny Tina content, so they're going to push it out to people that watch Tiny Tina content. So you're competing then. So, and I'm just saying that to emphasize that, like, a lot of people think, oh, it knows it's not Cookie Run Kingdom content, so it just randomly blasts it out. And yeah, it might not do as well because it's not targeted like the Cookie Run Kingdom content is. No, it very much is targeted because it knows it's Tiny Tina content. And so it targets that to Tiny Tina viewers. Does that make sense? Like, so to me, that even more, like, it's like, but it knows it's Tiny Tina, so it's going to push it out to Tiny Tina people. It's not going to randomly. So again, what does the categorization of the channel matter at that point? What you have the channel categorize that. You know who to push each individual video to, because you know what that video is, because you have your AI advanced enough that you know that that's Tiny Tina, or you know that that's Cookie Run Kingdom, or you know that it's Call of Duty Warzone, or you know that that's Phasmophobia, whatever.
And I'm with you. But then my follow-up question would be, is like, just to poke fun at you, because I want to poke fun at you, would be,
sure.
Why did Peter McKinnon just start a second channel where he's told
why videos? Yeah, he said why.
Right. But he didn't say why, as in, like, because he just wanted to keep the main one as strictly photography for people who are looking for something for photography and not other stuff.
Not just that, but originally when he created it as a secondary outlet where he didn't want to be known. When he first released it the first time, all of that Pete's Pirate stuff, nobody knew it was him at first. It was a random account on the internet that started growing.
I didn't know he did that. I thought he just started it.
No. It started on Instagram. Pete's Pirate Life. Very first started on Instagram. It started as an anonymous account. It was called Pete's Pirate Life. There was no indication that it was Peter McKinnon and not just some other weird Pete in the.
Yeah,
there was no.
He didn't explain that in the video though, did he?
Yeah, he talked about it. That he talked about that he wanted an outlet. I believe I'm like 90% sure he talked about this. Maybe
I know that he said that. Well, I know that's why he said he created a second channel, but I didn't realize the anonymous part. And I didn't understand like the second part. I just knew that he started the second channel, and I knew that it was going to be whatever he wanted to make, video wise, outside of that, his main channel was still going to stay that cinematography, like photography, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But listen, so my thought process was just to poke fun at you was going to be like, well, why would it matter? He could have just started making random videos on his main channel, and they probably would have done just as well, and he would have got that initial push, and all of that audience would have still loved him, and and everything else, just like his secondary channel. Why would he start another channel then? Why wouldn't he just, as a content creator, keep it all on one channel?
Well, first, let me back up a step. He didn't create the second YouTube channel till after his identity was found out, or after he announced that it was him. I don't remember if he got found out. I think people started realizing like, hey, this style is kind of Peter McKinnon, It's called Pete's Pirate Life. I think the kind of 2 and 2 started coming together. And then I believe he started dropping little hints on his main channel, like the little pirate guy.
Yeah.
And then, so like, then it like really clicked, and boom, people started finding out that it was really Peter McKinnon. And then came the second YouTube channel and all that. So none of that came till after the anonymous.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
So, but even outside of that, so let's say he does that. Just because there's creators doing that doesn't mean I'm wrong.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm with you. Yeah, I wasn't trying to use it to debunk you. I just was asking you. I just spitballing and just like, hey, this is another creator that just did this. I didn't know.
Yeah, there's creators, but I'm just answering. That's the answer to the question is, I just think for a long time, that was the right answer, because for a long time, the algorithm did weight your videos off of your past videos. For a long time, the algorithm did group your channel into a niche because it didn't have the capabilities to tell an individual game just by watching the footage itself, like it can do today on 4/10/2022.
Right.
And so I just think a lot of that is just habit. Even outside of that, I think some people just like the organization. Like, I'm an organization freak. That's why I like, even though everything's on my channel, there is a playlist for everything. There's a playlist for every game that I've played. It gets its own separate playlist. There's a separate playlist for tutorials, for reviews, for gaming videos, for vlogs. I mean, it is, if you go to the homepage of my site, they are all each organized in a playlist in the rows, each type of video that I do, whether it's a gaming video.
But there's a strategy to that. But
my point is, there's people that just like that organization and like it to that extreme, to where even if it doesn't help, it also doesn't hurt you to make, like, I'm not arguing at all that it hurts you to make a separate channel, outside of the fact that I think you lose a little bit of those sub views. But like long term, or like, even midterm, I don't think having a second channel hurts you at all. Like, it's not necessarily a bad idea. I just don't think it helps you any. So to me, it's like, what's the point?
Yeah. And the only thing that I could think about that would be a different market. Sure. I mean, the only other thing I could think about would be a different market. I mean, a different market that makes sense. You know what I mean? And I understand that. And I don't know. I mean, I guess
because I can give you like, do you know who iJustine is? Like, I think like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know who she is. Yeah.
She makes tech videos, right? She posts gaming videos on her channel. She has, I've seen her post a Nintendo game where she's playing Nintendo games. I've seen where she's put like Animal Crossing.
Does it ever, but does it ever do as well as her main content on her channel is the question.
But again, that's the wrong question, because if it was posted on a separate channel, would it do as well as her main content? She's known for her tech videos. That's what she built a brand around. So, but my argument is, like, but for some reason, people seem to think if I post it on a second channel, it's going to do as well as my main content. No.
I'm saying, right. No, I agree with you. I'm saying, I think they think the other way. I think they think that because it's not posted on a second channel, their main content or main channel, what they're known for, is hindering them. I think it's the reverse of what you're thinking. I don't think they think they're going to hit skyrocket on their main channel.
I see what they're saying, and I would argue
they're stuck in the mindset of their main channel is hindering them from reaching out another audience.
And I would argue that might actually be the one thing I would agree with that you've said so far. But here's what I would also say: you got to have a main thing.
Oh, right.
It would not make sense to put equal amount of focus into 3 different things when you're doing a business. Like if you're going to be a tech person, do tech videos. Like me, I do, but my main focus is gaming. Like I do have a main focus. The majority of the content I make is around gaming.
Right.
And so like you still, like most people know me not because of my tech videos or my vlogs. They know me because of the gaming stuff I do. Like the small audience I have is gaming related. Yeah. So like you're going to have a main. So like, does it hurt? Like, sure, maybe like it hinders that. But also I would argue if I was trying to run a tech channel, a separate gaming channel, a separate vlog channel, and a separate podcast channel, and I was trying to put equal effort into all those to make all of those as good as the main, so making them all equal and all of them a main and not have any of them hindered by the other, I would be doing YouTube from 7 a.m. till 7 a.m.
Yeah, no, and I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that.
24 hours a day, like 7 days a week,
right. But let's go back to your but let's go back to your hindrance thing. Like, I guess my question is why would it though if every video would be ranked individually? Like, I guess my question is that if she drops a gaming video and it doesn't perform as well, but why?
Let me ask this. So right. Okay. So I think my gaming contents, would you argue it's decent?
Yeah.
Like, would you, I mean, would
it's entertaining,
you argue,
it's good, yeah.
Would you argue like, and I mean, maybe you would, I don't know. Like, and you can be completely honest. Would you argue like your content's different? You're doing Cookie Run Kingdom. So I'm not, but would you argue that like your content's way better than mine? Like, I mean, on a massive scale?
Content, no. I mean, because but it's hard to compare that because we don't
play
the same thing. And I'm making guides on games versus you just memeing videos on games.
Right. But I am going to switch it. I put out Cookie Run Kingdom content. Why doesn't my cookie, if we're both good content creators, why does my Cookie Run Kingdom content not do as good as your Cookie Run Kingdom content?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Why would you think? Like, just list some, what would you think would make a difference?
My first thought is the algorithm doesn't know you for Cookie Run Kingdom content, so therefore it doesn't push your videos.
No. I do get those videos perform the best for me out of all my videos when I do them. On my TikTok, they're the highest viewed TikToks. On YouTube Shorts, they're the highest viewed YouTube Shorts.
Okay.
On my YouTube channel, they're the highest viewed gaming videos. Why don't they do as good as yours? I would even argue that we probably have similar click-through rates and watch.
Because I have more subs. I don't know. I don't know what would be the answer.
You know Cookie Run Kingdom way more than me because you live, breathe, and eat Cookie Run Kingdom.
But the algorithm doesn't fucking have anything to play with that.
It does because it reads people's data and people know that. The algorithm is just people's data.
Yeah, but okay, but
people
you're
know.
Not, but explain that. But explain that. That doesn't make any sense.
Your
video should be ranked the same as my video in the algorithm because again, every video is ranked individually. So in theory, if I make a Cookie Run, like fuck Cookie Run Kingdom, if you make a video on, I don't know, I'm gonna pick something. A water slide. You pick a video on a water slide, and I make a video on a water slide.
And none of us has ever made water slide content before.
Correct.
So neither of us know anything more than the other about water slides.
Okay,
we
fine.
Both have zero knowledge of water slides.
You know a shit ton about electric business.
Yes.
So you make a video tomorrow about something fucking electricity related.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
And I know nothing about electricity, and I make a video, the exact same video on the exact same thing about electricity.
Okay. Yeah.
You're telling me somehow or another your video gets more because you mentally and psychologically know more about electricity.
Yes, because that comes through in the data. For example, if both of us were trying to show how to install a receptacle outlet into the wall, I'm going to be able to better show people that. So my watch time is going to be higher. People aren't going to be downvoting my video. They aren't going to be clicking away because I know more about the subject matter.
You're right, but you're but not necessarily because you
What do you mean not necessarily?
Okay, going back to Cookie Run Kingdom because before I make a video, I could just look up how to fucking install a receptacle, and then I would fucking install the receptacle just like you'd install the receptacle.
But I don't do that for Cookie Run Kingdom.
Yeah, but if you're doing a video on Cookie Run Kingdom summons, there's no difference. Like if you're doing a summoning video, how? All I'm doing is saying the same thing. What comes into play is our personality and our retention.
Sure, that's also part of it though too. But I mean that's the whole thing too. Like that's also part of it. Like just because videos are ranked independently, like you're right, your personality might fit a certain game better. But even outside of that, you are going to say stuff in your video that shows your knowledge of Cookie Run Kingdom that I am not able to express. Even in my videos, if you go to my TikTok videos, I pronounce so many of the characters' names wrong when they come up that I get made fun of in the comments. And people are like, dude, why are you? They don't even think I'm a true Cookie Run Kingdom fan because you don't know how many times I get told like, oh, you're only playing this for the views because I pronounce like, I keep saying dark cocoa instead of what is it?
Dark cacao. So, okay.
But I'm saying that's small stuff, but I'm telling you, people don't realize like the algorithm that it's just reading data. So any of those minute little things, the algorithm will notice and pick up 100%. So the algorithm does 100 just by looking at data points knows like if you were to ask the algorithm who knows more about Cookie Run Kingdom, Codations or Derek, it's going to be able to probably tell you with a pretty high accuracy which one of us has a better knowledge of Cookie Run Kingdom just by looking at the data of how humans interact with our content. 100%. It is that smart, man. We're like, think of the advertisements and the way we're shown at. There are literally songs where it talks about how fucking crazy advertisements are today. Like everybody talks about how crazy it is. Like you talk about something, you see an advertisement. Again, I don't think people realize how advanced these algorithms have become. And so yes, those minute things matter.
Right. So 100%. Right. No, and I get what you're saying. And
now, I mean, maybe like to the extreme. I don't know to the extreme, but I'm saying
no, I know, but I'm just saying I'm trying to relate that. Difference. Right. And I'm trying to relate that to the scenario, meaning like, going back to the brand new game drops, on YouTube or, brand new mobile game comes out, right? All these slew of mobile gaming content creators start posting content for the game. Eventually you always hear the reasoning by some of these content creators falling off and stuff is, oh, the algorithm just isn't running my channel. It hates me or whatever on this game, blah, blah, blah. So what do? They just stop making content for it, and then they move on to the next game. But taking that ideology in theory, maybe it's just because of that other content creator that's getting and soaking in a ton of views, right? For this brand new game, maybe they're delivering that content better, or maybe they're, like you said, their feedback and the input from human data, is showcasing better on that content creator. Therefore, it's relating that content creator again more so with that video, pushing that video out or whatever, compared to the other person. Let's not take thumbnails or other stuff in account because I guess that also counts too.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying, right. But I'm just saying, if you had two people doing that exact same thing, I don't know. I've never really considered, how content's being delivered or how content's being interacted with and how that plays a part in the algorithm, plays a part in the data, because I never really thought about that. But I guess that makes sense because you're right. I've had Childish, I've had, 5 or 6 other people that's tried creating Cookie Run Kingdom content after that big giant boom, and all of them said it didn't work for them. They couldn't get hardly anything on them, compared to my stuff.
And for the record, just to interrupt real quick, for all the motherfucking haters out there, I still release Cookie Run Kingdom content because I'm not just trying to get the views. I do enjoy the fucking game, you assholes. And I have a gotcha video coming out in a couple days.
But do you get what I'm saying though? So like, I don't know. I guess that makes sense. I always just thought, I don't know. I guess I just always played it. I always just played into the narrative of, oh, for whatever reason, they were first to the, platform. They were first, to pump out the videos. Whoever feeds in more videos into the algorithm, it wants to recommend that person over another person who doesn't feed in as much. Because I guess would
that make sense if you were the algorithm? Would you do that? When again, what would be your focus as the algorithm? The best video wins. That's all you care about, because what is your goal? Again, you said it earlier. You said it. The goal is to keep people on your website watching videos as long as you can. Why would you?
Yeah. So the algorithm
hate on a creator and quit showing their video. If they have the best video, they have the best video. And how do you know if they have the best video? You look at not just thumbnail click-through rate and watch time. Are those the two biggest factors? Yes, because
but
most of those data feed those things.
Yes, but then let me ask you, but we'll just I don't know if they watch this anyways, but let's just call it out. Then what's the difference with me and Hyrule? And the reason why I say that is because I've seen his data. He'll give me anything I want. Our click-throughs are almost identical. On the click-through rate, our audience retention is identical. Our revenue is almost identical.
Sure.
But my question is
but his views are higher.
Correct.
So, okay. I don't know, but I think that only proves my point that it's not just those factors being factored in. Could a factor be that they prioritize a channel? Sure. We could go tinfoil hat. I think that's more of a tinfoil hat thing because there's no actual proof that happens, nor does it nor I'm saying when you think about it logically, if you were the algorithm, why would it make sense for you to favor a creator?
And I don't think it's a favor of the creator thing.
Right. So I'm saying, yes, there is some other factors definitely being considered. He's obviously hitting something that you're not hitting. I don't know what that factor is.
Right. The only thing
I don't think it's that he's being favored in the algorithm.
No. I don't think it's being favored in the algorithm either. I think there's some sort of metric that we don't know, either that we don't listen, that we don't know whatsoever that's counting, or two, somehow your subscribers do make a difference. And what I mean by that is meaning he puts out a video or here. Okay, we'll just take it. It's happened numerous times. I put out a video 2 hours later. He drops a video on the exact same topic that I do, surpasses me, catches up to me and surpasses me in views. Mine's still getting views. His still getting views. He's just surpassed me and keeps on going beyond me and everything like that. But it's now on every video. So it doesn't matter if he's first, doesn't matter if he's last to make the video. Sure. His video still outperforms mine when it comes to views.
Sure. Well,
my thought process is that from subs, meaning is that because I've got 62,000 and he has 120,000? That's, double my subs. Wouldn't his percentage number be higher that get notified that see the video?
The percentage number, but if 20%, let's say 50% of your subs end up seeing the video and 50% of his subs end up seeing the video, that's a higher number.
That's what I'm saying.
That the percentages are different, though.
Yeah. Well, that's sorry. I didn't mean percentages, but I'm saying I'm saying percentage is the same, but I'm saying what the percentage equals. Meaning would be a higher number. 100%. So my question is, could that be the difference? Meaning, if his video gets 20,000 and my video gets 10,000, you know what I mean? I guess my question is does that mean?
And that's easy to tell because you guys are pretty open with your data back and forth. You would just look at those numbers of how much of it's coming from his subscribers and how much of the traffic's coming from the YouTube recommendations.
And I guess,
and if he's getting more traffic from his subscribers, then
but what if we're getting the traction more? He's getting more traction from the algorithm. Let's just say that.
I would
what
agree
if we run
that
the
there's
same
a
video
factor that we don't know that you said, but my argument is that I don't think it's
favoritism,
this malicious intent stuff that it almost as by trying to say all the reasons why you need a second channel, all the reasons about favorite, I think that all falls more under tinfoil hat. I'm saying, there might be reasons we don't know, but those to put it to try to throw it on that stuff doesn't make sense to me. And so I'm not arguing that there isn't other stuff we don't know. I think there's thousands of factors. I'm just arguing that stuff that's being said over here by some people doesn't make sense to me when you look at it analytically.
And I'm with you.
All I'm arguing.
And I'm with you.
The answers is if I knew exactly how the algorithm worked, I'd probably be Markiplier right now. I'd be a variety streamer that did have a large audience instead of a variety streamer that's slowly growing.
But you know what's even crazy? You know what's even wild about that is that I honestly, truly believe, and I'm not joking, I don't think anybody knows.
I would agree with that. And I've said that before, that
you can find
people that do everything on one channel and they grow. You can find people that do it on separate channels and grow. You can find people that
but I don't think
complete different niches.
But
and they grow.
Right. But everybody that I talk to, nobody has the answer. And that's what I'm saying. I feel like that's what my point is.
I know, I'm just patting myself on the back.
Truly, I don't think nobody. I think even Dr. Lupo and all these big guys. I
don't think YouTube knows. If you've ever listened, so when all the stuff came out with Facebook's algorithm and Cambridge and all that stuff, and they had to go testify in the Senate, one of the biggest shocking things to people, to most tech people, if you were watching any of the news and stuff that time, from actual knowledgeable people in the field, was they were shocked at how little Facebook actually understood what the algorithm was doing. and actually had control over the algorithm was doing, because all they did was program the algorithm to do this task, and then the algorithm collects the data and does it.
Right.
So I don't even Facebook admitted that they don't understand as much about how the algorithm works, more than just they know how it works. They know why it works, but they don't understand exactly what the algorithm is doing. It almost is a mind of its own. Some of these big algorithms, small ones, you know, but as they grow and get bigger, and they have thousands. I mean, because the truth is, we talk about watch time, we talk about click-through rate, but the truth is there probably is a thousand, if not thousands, of data points that the algorithm is looking at that we have no idea. Little things that might, like even keywords. YouTube says keywords don't matter. Do they actually not matter, or do they only account for 0.0000001% of the algorithm now?
Right.
They still count for something. And if you have enough of those little things, and somebody's just happens to be hitting a lot of those little things that add up, and it gives them an extra 1% on you or something, they're going to surpass you.
That makes a difference, like, right? Which makes a difference. Yeah. And I agree. I mean, I think, again, I don't know. I just personally think, I think there's just way too many that, like, people don't know. And I think what happened is like you told me before in the past, I think somebody found something that worked. Do you know what I mean? And they just kept on reproducing that exact same thing. You know what I mean? And it's what worked for them, their audience, their situation, in their moment, everything. And it worked. The same thing with me. I've got friends and people right now that I hate to call them friends, but they tell me that I just got lucky. They tell me that I just got lucky, that my YouTube channel is luck, that Cookie Run Kingdom happened to draw in a large audience, and I happened to get, the algorithm to watch, to push some of my videos, and it just happened to take off, and now I own the Cookie Run Kingdom space, with another person, and that's just what happened. If it was any other game, I wouldn't have gotten this lucky. I just happened to get lucky on a game. My response is, okay, so then you just think I'm a shit content creator, right? Because think about it. I do put in a shit ton of work for my content. And I like to try to think that if I didn't do what I do, would I still get the views? But here's the other thing. Here's the devil's advocate. I can pull up channels right now that I personally think have complete shit content, and they continue to outsurpass me on views on my videos for Cookie Run Kingdom, and they've been doing content for 3 months.
Yeah.
So I don't think that even plays a part. I think this bullshit thing that people fucking sell you from the top, 2 million sub channels, just make the best content you can. And I'm like, no, that doesn't sell.
I would argue if I was a guru trying to sell people on what to do on YouTube, the more I do it, the longer I do it, and the longer that I've been a creator that has grown slow, the more I think this rings true, because I've seen this space for a long time, but I haven't blown up myself. And I think once you blow up, you get a little bit clouded by human pride. And you start to think a little higher, like you think you did something super special. But honestly, I think authenticity. I think that's the answer. I think the more you can become who you really are, and the more you can bring that across in your content, and the more, like, I don't think people care if you create the best, highest quality Hollywood cinema content or versus the worst vlogs filmed on a GoPro. If you're you and you're entertaining and you have a good personality and you're good with talking with people and you're a friendly person.
Yeah, but what about people who don't talk?
What do you mean people who don't talk?
There's several channels out there that have no camera, no voice, and they're text on a screen. There's no personality in that.
Sure. But that there is. That is a whole, I mean, even VTubers and all of that is a whole nother art form. But there's also, I mean, those are outliers too. Like there's always outliers of everything we say. So if I say,
I get what you're saying.
Like there's always outliers. So my point is, like, there's use cases for that type of content. Some people, like, I've watched that, like, playthroughs with no camera, no fucking person talking. It's just them sitting there playing the game. I've used that to fall asleep too, on the couch. Like, I'm out on the couch, I'm sick, I'm trying to fall asleep, I don't want something on that's distracting. I'll throw up just a playthrough of some game with no commentary. Like, there's people that specifically make that. It says you can search no commentary, and get those type of videos. So there's use cases for those, but I'm talking about, like, the majority of the content. I think what made Markiplier wasn't that he was a variety gamer. What made Markiplier was that he was Markiplier. What made PewDiePie was that he was PewDiePie. What made insert Tyler 1, it wasn't League of Legends. Like, did that game help him? Sure. What's making Codations a successful content creator? I would argue it's not Cookie Run Kingdom. Did that game help get your personality in front of people? Sure. And would you argue was that luck or not? I mean, we've had conversations about luck in my live stream, me and you, like
I know, and not really speaking on luck. I'm just speaking on terms of like they're saying luck as in like, yeah, but they're not saying luck as in luck as we've had conversations. They're saying luck as in like the algorithm push for, or not algorithm push, the traffic push to a specific subject, meaning like people were flooding YouTube to look for Cookie Run Kingdom at the time of its release, and I happen to be there creating the thing. That's what matched the two together. Versus if I made something else, that's their version of luck. They're just saying it didn't matter.
Why were you doing Cookie Run Kingdom content? I'm asking for our audience. Why were you making Cookie Run Kingdom content right then when people came influxed in to look for it?
As a joke.
Okay, why?
In my very first impressions video, at the time I was making variety content.
But what was you had a plan while you were making that variety content the whole time?
Because my audience,
your plan?
My plan at the time was to feature another game as I was doing every single time. So my normal strategy, I was just making a first impressions, and legitimately, I thought it was funny because it was cookies. And at the time I was playing a Japanese anime gacha game with, big tits and everything else. It was completely left field. I created it as a, no way I'm playing a cookie game, but today we are, let's check it out. And then from there,
for sure. I'm not talking about the video idea though and stuff.
That's the
video idea. And that's
I guess that's what I'm saying is that's why I created the video. I don't know
what, right. Okay. But you were playing other mobile games before that game.
Yeah.
Why were you cycling through all these different mobile games on your YouTube channel at the beginning?
Oh, because I wanted to make revenue on YouTube full time. I mean, I was trying to look for something that would stick.
You were specifically going out finding new games that were coming out on mobile to try out on your YouTube channel.
Yeah. Okay.
You try to get them to pop off because you knew you wouldn't have any competition on those games. Is any of this wrong?
No, I'm with you up to this point. Yeah.
So how is any of that luck or even class? And I'm not talking luck, but I'm saying even what they're saying, we're like, oh, you just made like people came looking for it. Yeah, that was your whole plan, was to make content on games
that
people weren't looking for yet, but they might start coming and looking for it.
I mean, yeah, I guess that's a good counter argument that I could use back when they say that. I guess I didn't
literally, that was I remember you telling me like, oh, I'm going through these games, like I'm trying to find one that, you were on all these lists for games. I remember you're always like, oh, there's this game coming out this date. There's this game coming out this date. That was your whole plan in the beginning. And it worked. Like it was a good plan. Did you get lucky Cookie Run Kingdom pop? Like, sure, games are going to pop off. So I wouldn't call that luck. It was the new games sometimes pop off. And you knew if I keep checking out all these games, eventually I'm going to hit one that's probably going to pop off. And
right. I know records are going to be selling at some point in time. So I start selling records until one of the records, makes is really popular. And then I start selling that record full time. Yeah. And that's a good counter argument. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's a good counter argument. I just, again, I don't know. I mean, for me, it's hard to it's hard. I think it's really struggling for a lot of people because they just want they want something to blame it on. And I think it's just very easy for them to just be like, oh, the algorithm just hates me for this game, so I'm just going to stop playing it and play something else and just continue rolling. Now, will I argue that is a bad mindset? Yes. And the reason why I say that is because I firmly believe that I feel like if a person continues to push for so long, like I think it would eventually probably cycle them into the algorithm.
And let me interject right there. And here's the truth, because again, I've talked about and I know there's still to this day, there's people in my community that hate my stance on this. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to try to explain it in a different way. Everything that you just said, here's the truth. You could do, like you even just said, I believe if somebody pushes hard enough and keeps doing it, eventually they're gonna have something pop off. Eventually something's gonna work out for them. Eventually you believe that because that's your mindset, because that's the mindset you need to have. You can't have a mindset of it's all luck. You can't have a mindset of, oh, it happens to everybody else but me. You have to have the mindset of what you just said. But the truth actually is you could do everything in this entire life right and never get your break, ever. There are plenty of people that their whole life do the right thing the right way and they don't make it. They don't get the break. Everyone can't make it. Right. And the people that do make it are not necessarily special. It's just in the moment that they were doing the, not luck, but the things that they knew to do to try to be successful, did work out for them because sometimes things work out for people. Luck would say that you had nothing to do with the circumstance, which is where my argument comes in, because you did, because it wasn't luck. You were specifically had a plan of, I'm going to do these games. I'm going to try to, but the truth is you could have did that. You could have cut, and you could have just always missed that wave. You could have just always missed that game and never had that Cookie Run Kingdom game. Because the truth is, tomorrow you could start doing that again, and it could be 50 games, and you might not ever have one pop off again like Cookie Run Kingdom. That's just the truth of it. I think the more success you get, the easier it is to get more success, because
you learn, right? Yeah.
So, but that still doesn't change the fact that like it could, like there's plenty of successful actors and actresses out there that make some great movies and then fall off the face of the earth. There's very successful YouTubers, content creators, Viners, when Vine was a thing, that were huge, had huge audience and fell off the face of the earth and were never able to be relevant again, or just kept a very small core audience to this day that still supports them, but they're not really doing anything. They were obviously good enough to have those numbers, which means their content's good enough, their person, whatever it is good enough, but they never hit those numbers again. Like that's just life. And this is like going totally into a whole different of what we've been talking about tonight. But I just think it's
let's just snake it into another podcast episode.
Yeah. But and we should talk about it. I mean, because I think people think like I'm saying like, oh, there is no such thing as luck. There is no such thing as this or that. What I'm saying is it doesn't matter. You can't focus on that. You have to get your mindset to believe. Like I'm a big proponent of fake it till you make it when it's yourself.
Right.
Fake it till you make it for yourself, not for other people. Don't put on a show for other people, but you got to be the person that when you're waking up every day and you're saying like, oh, it's probably just luck. These people get it. You got to be the person that says, nah, it's not fucking luck, man. I'm a fucking goddamn legend. I'm going to get up and
I'm a figure it out. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to get it. I'm going to figure it out.
I'm going to go through 100 fucking mobile games if I have to find that one that's going to pop up. Like you got to do that for yourself. And so in my mind, it's not about whether any of that stuff's actually true. Like if I actually sat down and logically thought about it, like, because we've had a conversation and I've been dead adamant. Like when we've had a conversation, like, is luck a real thing? No, it's fucking bullshit. It's made up. It's probably real. Luck exists in some form or another.
It does. But
that's the only time I'm ever saying that. Luck is fake. It's bullshit.
Right. But you're not wrong. I mean, you're mixing two situations. I mean, I think, does shit randomly happen to people? Yeah. I mean, on good and bad, you know what I mean? I mean, you could say that a person's got bad luck, you know what I mean? When something terrible happens to them, you mean, and they're randomly chosen or selected, you mean, to receive something terrible. And then you've got, people on the other spectrum where they're winning the lottery tomorrow and they didn't even play it. They just had, so their buddy came home and was like, hey, I bought you a lottery ticket, and you know what I mean, and you know what I mean, you know what I'm saying? So like in essence, yes, do I think that random good shit and bad stuff happens to people in the world? 100%. But I do also think and agree with you that the way your perspective is on life and the way that you perceive things, not even just on life, but even everything you do daily, does make a massive difference. And that is scientifically proven. If you've got a person who always thinks that they're being held down and they're being suppressed and, that's their entire their mindset, you know what I mean? It can absolutely hinder the things that they achieve. You mean compared to a person who always thinks that they are positive and constantly feels
chances.
Right.
Because again, you could do everything right, and at the end of the day, you could not make it. You could,
but that kind of dives into
Walmart your whole rest of your life.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that if you're really, really trying, I don't think it's that hard to at least move up in life some. But I'm sure there's somebody out there that did everything fucking perfectly and just.
But do you think so though?
It was shit.
You don't think that there has got to be something that they're not doing correctly that they could have done better that might have changed their situation?
Sure, but that could be said about everybody. Everybody could always do better. So
True.
When you put in the human condition, like when I say that somebody did everything perfect, I mean they did everything perfect to their ability from what life has given them.
Right.
So meaning their background that they came from, the parents that they were raised by, the relationships that they were in, the friend group that they've been a part of, all of that stuff, the jobs that they had, the bosses that they had, all of that stuff plays a part in your psyche and in your mental. And why I'm so big and like, you got to be the one that, because so many people, I mean, the moment you even talk about wanting to be successful is immediately the moment haters start coming out. Even then your friends who are other content creators, oh, you just got lucky, Cody. It's like, no, fuck you, motherfucker. I worked my ass off, you goddamn bitch. Sit the fuck down and be a lazy ass bitch the rest of your life and amount to nothing, and quit talking shit about me, you fucktard. Like, that's what we want to say to those people. But those people weigh on us. Instead, we think like, oh, are they right? Did I just get lucky? Is my content horrible? Do I suck at content creation? Oh my God.
Is that why doing this? Listen, is that why that other channel called up to me and surpassed me because they're just making that much better content and I'm just not doing shit? Like, yeah, I mean, I get it. Yeah. And then what does that do? Then that suppresses you and your content, because then you might not be giving it your 100% all. And then your numbers start to drop, and then your numbers start to then deceive you, because then you're thinking twice onto it, like, oh, maybe they are correct because now these videos that I dropped, they're doing even more terrible, Oh yeah.
And so the question becomes, is that your fault? No, it's part of being human. Like, of course, like we care what people think about us. I mean, I don't care anybody. Like Gary Vee can say, oh, I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks about me. Bullshit, motherfucker. If your wife left you tomorrow, you're gonna fucking care, dude. Like if your kids disowned you tomorrow and said you were the worst dad in the world and never wanted to see your face again, you're gonna fucking care.
Right.
Like maybe you're still gonna live your life and you're still gonna push through and do the shit you gotta do. But to say that you don't give a shit what anybody thinks.
Yeah, but I think
it's that mentality though. I tell myself that all the time. Like there's times that I sit and I'm like, oh, if my wife divorced me tomorrow, it's her fucking fault. She's the dumbass. I'm a goddamn legend. Like, because you gotta be that person in here.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
But you also gotta have humility and all that stuff. Like you gotta be both at the right times.
Right. No, and I'm with you.
Difficult.
Yeah. And I'm with you. Yeah, 100%. I'm with you.
But my point is, so yes, I believe there's people out there, to circle back, that have done everything right in life to their ability, and because of circumstances
still not made the cut.
Call that luck, and maybe it is, but again, whether that's true or not, at the end of the day, believing that that's what it's all about will do nothing to help you in life. And in fact, I think it'll actually do the opposite. It'll hurt you in life. Even if it is true, just because something's true doesn't mean it's beneficial. Sometimes I would almost go too far to say sometimes a lie is better. We like to think that we always want 100% truth 24/7 100% of the time. I would argue we don't, and we probably shouldn't want truth 100% of the time. Sometimes we need lies.
Yeah, and I would agree, but that's not. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, because again, that goes back to your mindset and your perspective. You know what I mean? If you're constantly making content all the time, you know what I mean, and your mindset is, I just need to get lucky. I just need to get lucky. I just need to get lucky.
Yeah, you're not going to push to make better content. You're not going to push to learn new skills, because you're just like, it's just about throwing out a bunch of content and hoping I get lucky.
Right. You're not reading analytics. You're not studying data. You're not trying to come up with a good strategy. I mean, you're literally just saying, I'll just keep on making content about these games. Every new game that comes out, eventually I'll get lucky and something will just happen and I'll just be making content for that. That's not the right way to have the mindset. If you ask anybody or see any person that's successful, they're very much, as you mentioned, positive, driven. I mean, coming up with goals, even if they're unrealistic or even realistic, they're constantly, like you said, telling themselves these small white lies to boost, that inner, motivation or creativity. I mean, inside them, to give it all you can on everything they're doing. I mean, and that makes a massive difference.
Yeah. And you could argue that you're lying to yourself. And I guess you could look at it that way. The world will beat you up and spit you out. And who says that they're not the ones lying?
Right. No, I'm not. Again, I stand by. Yeah. But I stand by. I mean, I stand by. You can achieve, anything. I mean, you put your mind to it. I mean, you can achieve it. It's not, I don't think that you can't. I mean, I think there's other factors, sure, but we're not getting that deep. I mean, into other factors. I mean, I'm just saying, I think that, you can achieve it. You put your mind to it, you give it your all. Yeah, you might get to the end of that road and figure out, this just isn't for me. But you're never going to know unless if you give it your all. So if you go into the mindset not giving it your all, in my opinion, you're already shortchanging yourself.
And that's the thing, because even at the end of the day, like, boil it down, like, does fucking becoming successful on YouTube really matter? Fuck no. Does becoming a gaming creator really matter? No. If tomorrow all of your shit failed and you Cookie Run Kingdom died and you could never get another game to be successful, would you be sad about that? Would that suck? Sure. Would it really matter in the grand when you're laying on your deathbed? Or is that really going to matter? What's really going to matter is, did I give it my all? Like, did I fucking try? Was I good to my family? Did I try to have a good career into something I was passionate about? Did I try to make it successful in my dreams and follow them? And if you can say yes to those, even if you failed, you will die and go to heaven.
Yeah. Yeah,
you will die happy.
Right.
If you reach the end of life and you said, oh, it was all luck, I never had a chance, life sucks, bullshit, all these other motherfuckers got lucky, I didn't, you're gonna die and go to hell, meaning you're gonna die and be miserable as fuck. Yeah. And that's what's gonna matter at the end of the day. So get your shit right, motherfuckers. All right.
And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're all done with the podcast.
Yes,
don't forget to always tune in. You mean to all of us here. You know, you can find me at Codations, codations.com. I've got my stuff over there. Find me on Codations on YouTube, Twitter. I got a Discord. It's linked in all my, bios on all my videos. I mean, I'm excited for the next podcast episode. It's been a hot minute since we've actually gotten together on this. Derek, give them all of your information, man. Where can we find out about you?
Yep. Just go to my website, omgitsderek.com. You'll find links for everything, everywhere. Just go there. OMG.
You've also got a Discord too, by the way, that you've been growing and you've been building and manifesting a community out of there.
Yeah. All linked. It's all on my website. Links to it.
Oh, I'm just trying to plug it. I'm just trying to plug it. On the top right. I know we're just trying to plug it because the Discord is big. We want more people there in Discord.
Get there, come join, be a part of the community.
Yep.
We have a good community growing, honestly. My stuff is slower growing, but what I will say is it's very strong, the small community. And it is, I really think again, maybe this is just the white lies we tell ourselves. But real quick before, I really think 2022 is my year, man. I really I'm up to the point where I have 30 people that I would say are regulars. They might not be there every stream, but their names are I'm starting to finally see where that number of people that are constantly checking into what I'm doing and checking out my stuff. Oh, okay, we reach 100 of these motherfuckers, we're on to something. You know what I mean? I'm starting to see that that stickiness. So I'm excited. I'm excited for 2022. The clips are doing really, really well. All the new stuff I've been trying has been doing really well so far. The new reviews, tutorials, getting back into those have been doing well. I guess I should have listened to Cody earlier. That's the one.
I love you.
That's the one thing. It has been doing well. No, there's been lots of stuff. That was just a joke.
I know.
But yeah, it's doing well. So I'm excited. I think 2022 is my year. And I don't mean I'm going to be as big as you. I mean, but I just mean, I think this would be the year that at least have a decent sized following starting. So I'm excited for that. So yeah, check out OMG It's Derek. Come be a part of it. Come be a part of something growing. It's always fun to be a part of something growing. Both mine and Codation shit are growing. We're growing together as friends and as content creators, as podcasters. So come be a part of that. Either one of us, hit us up, hit up our content. I think you'll have fun. You'll enjoy it. We have a lot of fun, all that stuff. Maybe next time we have another guest on. I don't know. We'll see. But it's been fun. It's been real. Come check us out. Till next time, everybody. Peace out. Cody, say peace out.
See you later, guys. Have a good one.
Later, nerds.